Hey everyone, welcome to Dialog Choices podcast. We got Bird here. He's going to cinema sins
Hi.
all of our bullshit about NFTs that was wrong last week. Here you go. Go,
Oh
Bird.
my God,
Fire.
no.
Yeah. Do it.
That
Do
was
it.
the trap.
Do it.
That
We had a
was the
bad
topic. You
podcast
said-
last week where we
you
just talked
said-
about NFTs for a long time, and then Bird immediately volunteered suspiciously to come on the podcast right after I showed him a link of our discussion that I was pretty sure was wrong while it was happening, and he's like, "Yeah, it's all wrong." Here you go, Bird. Center stage.
What?
Go for it.
No.
Show us how much of an NFT brain you've got.
Oh my God. I don't
What
even.
kind of
okay.
NFT are you? How do you do things to do?
Okay.
It's
Really?
JPEGs that nobody owns, but people keep saying they do.
Really
Paying money, you
what
keep
friends we made
arguing
along
that
the
they
way.
do, and it's weird.
All right. I don't remember what details you got wrong because anytime you talked about the technology, it was like
Your
Interesting,
brain just blinked out.
but okay. So this is what an NFT is. It's you take like a
A
digital
lie that we tell
piece of
ourselves.
nice. You take like a digital. Well, I mean, it could be an analog thing too, but nobody's done that yet to any sort of level of meaning. So you
Don't
so we'll just
complicate it
limit it to
even-
just like a
even
digital.
more.
Talking about digital stuff.
He tried
Okay,
to
I was gonna say, I
he
think
tried to
a-
explain stock options like 6 months ago. It only made me understand less. So this is a
You take-
Faustian bargain.
You take a digital idea, maybe it's a link to an image, maybe it's the JPEG itself or something. You then run it through blockchain technology to generate a unique identifier for it
So
that is
people are
then
selling
stored directly
hyperlinks?
on the blockchain. Basically, you could do it that way if you felt like it, but basically it's you generate a unique identifier that is durably stored on the blockchain, which so that's decentralized, and then you can query it later and say you basically can determine, do I own this thing that I claim that I own, and the blockchain will say either yes or no. And what you own is the token. And it is up to all of us to believe that that token actually maps any sort of benefit to the object owner, basically.
It doesn't.
So,
It doesn't.
so, well, yeah, I mean, not really in practice. We've done it.
So, so
Yeah.
it's just real money, but worse.
In practice, it like kind of becomes that, right? So this is the problem with a lot of crypto, is that you have to buy into it.
Besides
know,
the
it's-
scams.
It's
Yeah.
like it can't be a currency because it's not like you have to pay for American dollars to use American dollars. But with any crypto, you have to buy the currency. So as a result,
Well, you
any
can't technically
move-
mine it, can't you? And
How-
mining
how-
is technically the same as like working for it.
okay, fair. That is the way to go about it if you can afford to do it that way.
Yeah.
But for most people, the way that it works is that you just buy it. So what do? You go to a broker, something like Robinhood or Coinbase or whatever, and you say, I'm going to buy, some Bitcoin, which then kind of makes me wonder, like, the whole point is that this is decentralized, and yet the easiest way to access crypto or NFTs or anything like that is you have to go through a central authority. And
Well,
how this kind of
yeah.
loops back to NFTs is that one of the biggest places where people get NFTs, they so if you go to any sort of vendor of NFTs to verify or buy like one of your tokens or verify if you own it or not, oftentimes they don't even bother going through the blockchain to do their queries. They just have their own database and they will kind of cache it and say, like, yeah, you own this thing.
So you're saying
And-
there's no chain of custody.
I can't tell if that was a pun, but sort of.
If I'm
Sounded
not,
like one.
if I'm not actively hunting for a pun, I will not engage properly.
I understand. No, and I know
How
your
did you
tone
get
of
through
voice.
school?
So, like, then it becomes like this huge undermining of trust in the fact that it's, the whole selling point is, oh, it's decentralized. And it's like, but when you go to these vendors, you don't actually know if they are legitimately querying the blockchain or not. You're just saying, I hope that you do it. And they aren't, because it's so computationally expensive to query the blockchain. So they'll often just cache it in a much cheaper way that isn't actually on the chain itself, which then is kind of, if you care about this stuff, if you care about it as a currency or as technology, that should be fundamentally terrifying.
Is that fraud?
It's
Yeah,
Uh,
it's just
it's
yeah.
not, I don't think it's
it's
fraud because like the blockchain still has the truth quotation marks
yes,
on it, but like
yeah,
you can't trust the centralized agencies in which you're kind of like giving money to access this uncentralized currency.
exactly.
Like
It's
it's kind of
exactly the thing that makes it really scary to me. Is and this is the same problem that happens with Bitcoin. Is we've decentralized it, which has then resulted in okay, let's say fiat currency, right? Like the source of value and the source of truth of fiat currency is the government, in a very 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 abstract sense. um so if you then kind of take that concept to say crypto, you can say what kind of ends up owning the source of truth as we've decentralized it is it manifests in these private companies again. And you have to wonder, like, are they actually querying the blockchain on your behalf? And chances are oftentimes they're not. So that's like super fucky to me. And I
Mhm.
think that people are actually, like, as people discuss crypto and all the problems, I've noticed that people are becoming a lot more aware of these things that are actually fairly technical points, which is kind of encouraging, because I'm hoping that people understand the risks of all this shit a little bit more. Because it's I don't know. I don't know.
Have you? I'm sure you've seen things like Ubisoft and
Uh-huh.
Electronic Arts, basically, or and
Making their
Activision
own
as well.
NFTs and stuff
Yeah,
and their own coins, yeah.
and making statements to the shareholders that NFT gaming is the future, in their own words.
The
Um,
future of gaming is
do you
here.
think that they're looking at the short term gain, which is gullible stockholders being like, oh, profits, nice, invest,
EA would
or do you
never
think they
look at the
actually?
short-term game.
No, because like if you see a real future in gaming for NFT,
Mhm.
like I personally see a possibility of gaming NFT in games being a real thing in like 3, 4, or 5 years and forward. I can see that, but I also think that that's terrible and awful, and no, don't do that. But do you think that these companies actually see it properly, or is it just a fad, Bird?
Um,
Or I
I
guess all
don't.
of you.
I so the thing about NFTs having a future in gaming is that there's a bit of a problem there, in that Steam, for example, doesn't allow you to sell anything on their platform that incorporates NFTs into them.
Mhm.
Um,
Bird's just
so
sweating right now because he's actually working on an NFT game he can't talk about.
no.
NDAs.
Um, I will not say one way or the other, and that's just me being extremely precautious. But anyway, uh, so you have this problem then of like, hey, we're decentralizing it, but all the power of the actual real world use then becomes, oh, Steam is the central authority, and they've kind of, there you go, there's your NFTs gone. So it's interesting, because then you think like, okay, if Ubisoft, if they're going to be trying to capitalize on NFTs and put it into Assassin's Creed, what do they do with their launcher? Because there is the
Mhm.
Ubisoft store. Do they do what Steam does, or do they try to be the NFT allowing platform? Like, what does that mean? Um, so that's kind of one thing that jumps to my mind as I think through like what you were kind of asking about. The other thing is, what is what use does an NFT have to a game? Um, Again, like, it's just going to be proving uh
The ownership, I think, I
the
would think anyway.
that it's interesting, because that is actually more an NFT in a video game is probably more definitively saying you own something than an NFT of a JPEG, right?
Yeah. But it's
So
also that ownership also comes from a centralized, very fiat-like authority saying this has value, which is one of the reasons.
I shy away from using fiat as a discussion because I don't know very much about fiat
It's very
monetary
hazy.
theory to
Yeah.
feel confident making those sorts of comparisons. But yeah, I mean, you're basically relying on a central authority to say, ultimately, does this token have meaning in the game?
Mhm.
So then it's like, okay, do they own a blockchain or are they just bullshitting you? You know, because you can't
Yeah.
verify it. The blockchain is then hidden behind this vendor where
Yeah.
they could totally be scamming you
Mhm.
and you don't know. And it could be that they just cache it in a database and just say, like, yeah, we'll look it up for you from our database, which is way cheaper for them to maintain than any sort of blockchain authority. Uh,
Yeah.
so I don't know. It's just another thing that would
But that's like when
really
you
make
get
me
into the
wonder
weeds.
what's the point of NFTs. And
Yeah.
yeah.
You're explaining it in a way that when you get into the weeds of how it works, like there's no benefit to NFT technology in gaming in the sense of
It's not really going to be different from anything that you do currently, right?
yeah, but in
you're
the way that you market it, it is. And I think, and
probably.
specifically in the way that it centers gaming around ownership of any of parts of the game, which is just so contrary to the enjoyment of art in general.
There
And
was this
certainly,
a beautiful tweet from somebody that thought they were making a good point and it was great and whatnot. They're like, imagine playing an NFT Mario Kart where you can own Mario and no one else can play Mario. But he was like, serious? He's like, yeah,
exactly.
That's the future. And I'm like, ugh. That's horrible.
But
that's
obviously
literally like Ready Player One, where the video game in the actual book is a really shitty video game, and people just jump over that because it's, oh wow, VR's so good.
Because it's centered on ownership, though. It's like a traditional video game is centered on the you looking at a thing or playing a thing or having an opinion of a thing. It's normal in the sense of, you know, it doesn't change based on like, you know, it's like watching a movie in the sense that, you know, you watch a movie, you have an opinion about the movie, and that's it. And you play a video game, you have an opinion about a video game, and that's it. When competitive games change that dynamic a little bit, and actually a lot, in the sense that obviously the competition is part of the experience, and somebody who is very good at a game experiences the game very differently. But then that's why it's competitive. Like there's a competition to have that experience, and it's a thing. When you center games around the bits that you have and the skin that you have in your weapon, or how the animation that your mount has, or whatever, and there's a lot of games like this. When those sorts of games play differently based on what you own, and your objective is to. I mean, if you play them like that, obviously not all players need to play a game like. You know, a skin-heavy game is what I'm saying. I don't need to name any one in particular, but there's
because they're so popular with kids because they're free. They just have this whole culture around just bullying people that use normal skins.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, it's
what?
And that's just there's just
bully people that have the wrong skin on. Okay.
No, for having default skins.
Default skins, yeah,
because they're seen as lesser,
Fortnite or whatever.
Because they're buying into the system that these cosmetics are valuable and matter and so on. Since they're so bought in, anyone who rejects that is like a vegan, and that's like an attack on their personality. So they have to hate them.
Yeah,
I would just
but it also
back with well, this is what having money looks like. You poor motherfuckers, wasted it all on skins.
But that's not true though. You don't have the money. You gave it away. No, because you gave it away to this company.
That's what I'm saying. People who have default skins didn't invest money into this. They're just hanging out.
He's bragging from the perspective of the person that didn't buy any skins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like bragging you don't have kids. I don't have kids. I have money.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, yeah. So
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, that's kind of where I think that they're going with NFTs in these games, right? Is it's
one of a
taking
kind
the idea
skins
of whales and being able to try and convince whales that you can speculate.
Martin Shkreli
Like,
really bought the
on-
one copy of that Wu-Tang album, and the entire planet took it personally. Like, now I want to be the only owner of something. I want the Coldplay NFT or whatever the first like album that was like that was.
But yeah, I mean, the whole point of, I think, owning an NFT, well, I mean, maybe not the whole point. A large point of owning an NFT is that it's a degree of speculation, right? It's like owning a meme stock. It's like owning Bitcoin in the first place. You're basically buying this stuff so that you think it goes up in value and can sell it later. And I do believe that you can kind of appeal to the psychology behind whales in these games. You know what I mean by that, right? Like people that
I don't
drop
think so.
$10,000 or whatever on a free to play game to just
I don't think so,
because
people
it makes them feel like they're the best.
But the thing is, like the people who spend money, the whales in pay to play games or whatever, those people tend to want the things out of a sense of accomplishment or out of a sense of addiction to having things. That's why
Sure.
they're so predatory, these business practices, because that's what the vast majority of whales are. They're just people who actually shouldn't be spending that money, but they are because that's the reward that the game gives them.
Right.
The owning this bit, and it's fun to have, at least in the perspective of that person. Or kids that are playing on a console that doesn't have parental controls or stuff like that. But when it involves the reward aspect of it, I think like you don't often hear people talk about FOMO when it comes to Bitcoin. Like I remember back in 2016 or 2017 being like, oh boy, I wish I had kept that half a Bitcoin that I mined in like half a day. And I wish I did. Or I wish I had bought Bitcoin. But back then, when I was saying this, if I had bought Bitcoin, I would have had a huge amount of money right now. This is not an incentive, especially now that Bitcoin is so volatile. It's definitely not me saying that I should or anybody should buy Bitcoin right now, and they'll get their money back. What I'm saying is that the fear of missing out and that sort of mentality doesn't actually play a whole big role in Bitcoin transactions. It's just, and especially because when you account for the fact that only 25% of people who buy Bitcoin actually make money with it. It's even worse than
that high.
Yeah. It's not high. That's not, that's bad.
That's way higher
terrible.
than expected.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh.
I'm expecting fucking Cutco numbers where no one's it's like a fake business.
But
every pyramid scheme makeup fucking company that I've seen family members fall for, and it's like you're not gonna be your own boss. All you did was buy a product while being tricked into thinking you were gonna sell the product.
No, but you have to. But Bitcoin goes up in money.
But the fake employees are the customers.
It does go up in money, but the thing is, what happens is that people buy it. Well, so people will hear stories of like, wow, I bought Bitcoin and 3 weeks later it went up, 90% in value.
Or if anyone can hear the dogs just losing their fucking minds in the background for the last 10 minutes. I
can hear it. A lot of people will say like, oh, I made $50,000 on Bitcoin in 3 weeks because they were already millionaires, but that doesn't matter. So people will rush in to buy it. They FOMO, and then Bitcoin goes down, and then they sell it.
Yeah, that's why I honestly think 25% is too low for the. If you look at the graphs of Bitcoin, most people should be making money with it, but it isn't that. That's the thing. Like there is room for people
money speculating all the time on stuff that should go well. Because speculating is psychologically very, very, very challenging.
I suppose I don't have experience with it in terms of at least the stock
market.
You
might call those profits speculative fiction.
I don't. I think the only time I've ever felt FOMO was like the first time an event in Overwatch happened. I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss out on these skins. I really should try harder to get enough in-game currency.
I complained about that before I even played Overwatch. I was just it's really stupid that there are a bunch of modes that you just like can't play most of the time. They're just there, but fuck you. You should have been here during October instead of with your family or whatever.
I think
that's it. I like crypto never. I don't know. I never
I have
expected.
coworkers that have FOMO about Dogecoin of all things. That's when I knew this
That's
stuff was really going off the
Cringe.
rails.
Damn,
Yeah.
that's
yeah.
unfortunate
You
because they
posted
definitely
cringe.
missed out on being the ones to make a scam currency.
Because that's at the end of the day, the money that's going into Bitcoin is also like it's feeding so much human trafficking and drugs and all the bad shit in the market.
I don't know.
that-
My thing for Bitcoin has just been like I'll buy Bitcoin when I can shake hands with the creator. Like show me who made it.
Don't
show me
shake
right
hands.
now.
It's COVID. Don't do that.
Just like that's fine. I'm vaccinated. The
Lick hands.
like I want to see the person who's
lick
in
tongues.
control of it. Who's the one who can just shut it down today? Because you can. I don't care about the argument that it's decentralized because it's not. Someone has the trigger to this. So like, show me right now. Come out of the shadows. Take your mask off. Say hello to the audience, and see. And I want to see your face, and then I'll
It's
trust
Bird.
that this is not a
was
scam.
me.
This was all an
Like-
elaborate multi-year hoax just to make more furries, and it's
Like
working.
at what point?
There's entire
like,
cults built around like they call themselves prides, and they're like, "Welcome to the pride, everybody." The lazy
I had to invent
lions.
Bitcoin, to invent NFTs, to invent more furries.
Like what is?
You're the
I'm just
deep
waiting for the
throat of
moment.
this operation, or was Deep Throat the real name or the
Ew.
parody name? I don't remember.
Probably both.
It was the real name.
That was a real.
That's the best part.
It was
I-
self-aware.
I'm just waiting for both of these systems to collapse. It's just going to be
Me
really
too,
fun
it'd be
to
great.
watch. It's going to be fun to watch someone like, wow, I just lost $56 million in a second. How did that happen?
Squid
And
coin.
there's going to be like some
No
guy
clue.
who's richer than like
Did they
everybody
lose
on
real
the
money
planet.
though, or do they lose pretend money that was never provably going
No,
to
They
ever
shouldn't
be
have
money?
had that much money
Yeah,
in the first
well,
place.
They theoretically would lose fake money so long as they've never invested a single dollar of real money into it, which means like the only people who could not lose money are people who only have Bitcoin from mining, which is like
No, but even that is
probably-
investment.
probably like no, that's a lot less
'Cause you need the
investment than like
cards.
straight.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
but I'm like Keith's talking about like have you lost real money? And like no, because if you mined it, sure you paid an electric bill, but that's not the same as taking money and giving it to someone in
Right.
exchange for coins. And like
You do own an asset in the end when you mine it, right? You own the video cards.
sure, but you use those video cards for other things, presumably.
Yeah,
It's not like
exactly.
you don't have a Bitcoin. Well, I guess some people have rigs just for mining, but yeah, it's still I don't know.
I just meant like,
Bless
is this stuff even provably turnable into real money? Like, can you actually
Bless you.
buy real things of real value with it on the like millions
Yes.
dollar scale that they're
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah,
'Cause
you
if-
could buy plenty of stuff with bitcoins. You could buy
Drugs.
pizzas. You can buy drugs. You can buy people. You can buy
Yeah,
whatever
mostly
you
that.
want with bitcoins. There's not really a limit here. And thanks to the fact that it's quote unquote decentralized, you can just buy it and not have worry about anything happening to you, unless you buy it from a place that keeps a log. In which case, then the FBI will come knocking at your door at some point in time. Just wait for it. But, i.e., Silk Road. But like,
Does the FBI operate outside of the United States?
no, but
No.
the FBI is very generous with its
Isn't that the
information to
CIA?
other units. Like if the FBI like in the Silk Road situation, FBI is like, oh hey look,
yeah.
there's people from Russia. Knock knock Russia. Here's some people you might want to go after. Like there's no allegiance. FBI's are like, oh I'm gonna protect these Russian guys. They're pretty cool. They're gonna
That
be
sounds
like, nah,
something the FBI
they-
wouldn't do.
yeah, they're just like a burn it all bridge kind of deal. They're just like, well, we found a bunch of people's names, and if they ain't in the U.S., then there's
Take
somebody
a
who's gonna
drive
want
down
them
Burn
dead.
It All Bridge.
Yeah, basically, that is any three-letter
probably get
agency
to
in the
the
United
other side.
States. Yeah, any three-letter agency in the U.S. is a burn it down bridge driver. They will do anything they can to. Don't anything they drive
only
over
getting more
catches on fire.
garbled.
No,
All your base are belong to us.
exactly.
It's getting
But,
less and less English.
But to answer your question, like, so it depends on the actual investment people have made into crypto, like using real money in exchange for crypto. So if they did, then yes, they can just lose money. But if not, then no. But also, like, the second part of that is technically depends on how much they invested. So, like, no one invested $50 million into Bitcoin. People tend to have invested half of that and then got 50 million because of the increase of value in Bitcoin. But that doesn't mean that they have $50 million because they still have to pull that money out from somewhere, and no one's going to let you do that. So it's like it's like the stupidest fucking thing. Like, you have to that's why like NFTs are really popular, because it's something to do with your stupid funny Monopoly money. You can like use it to buy things that you give value to give purpose to this currency that you have given value to, but like not everyone will honor the value of.
So the entire
it's-
purpose of NFTs is to cope with the fact that they already invested in Bitcoin.
Damn.
Yeah, sure. I mean, a lot of NFT bros are just like living off of copium. Like, that's the only thing keeping them alive.
The copium mines.
Copium should be a coin.
Copium coin?
I think it is.
I think it is.
Oh
a
my
coin.
god! Yeah,
I've
If you
seen
can yeah.
coin. Let me look it up.
Cope coin.
copium.
That's opium coin. Google, thank you for that.
Nah, at least it doesn't show up on Wikipedia. It's just somebody's album. Gangsta rap is the name of the genre. Butters, drink the water.
No. Don't nasty cat tongue in my water.
Okay, I guess copium coin is actually just a meme. It's not a real thing.
It would be cool. though.
When people lose money, they'll meme like go long on copium.
Yeah, so I guess that coin doesn't exist. You can create one, Keith. Just make sure there's two valuable lessons you have to do here. One, make sure that you get a lot of influencers to pitch your coin. Usually under the
Lohan.
guise of something important like saving children, trees, or all of the above.
Is that
And
what we call
second-
Lindsay Lohan now? An influencer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and secondly, you want
Wait,
to,
I thought we were influencers.
you want to make sure
God, I
that
hope
as
not.
soon as it gets to like
I didn't sign up for this.
once it gets to like above $50 in value, you want to pump and dump it. So you want to just take all the money, kick everyone out, and just leave.
About $50. That's so.
Well, because remember, you have all of this value. So you have like all of the value. You have all
Yeah.
these coins. So if everyone's paying, everyone's buying a bunch of coins for $50, then presumably you can just kind of rake it all in and close the doors and tell people no. Like, banks used to do in the Great Depression. They just kind of like took all the money and then closed the doors and said like, no, sorry, no money, no money here for you.
Yeah.
It's
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Literally happened.
We took your money
Yeah.
and now it's gone. Thank you for your
It's-
money. That was
well,
nice of
and
you to
again,
give
this
to
is
us.
This is why it's nice to have it decentralized, because that means no government can come and say, "Hey, you deserve that money you paid." You just get to get scammed, and that person gets to get away with
What
get
an
scamming
honor.
you. What a freedom! That's
nothing-
like the best. That is literally the exact thing this country was founded on: scamming people. I mean, freedom. It was freedom.
But you
definitely
repeat
that
yourself.
one. No, I don't know. Once you start investing time into like researching cryptocurrency, there's like you see two really tall buildings and a bunch of rubble around them, and you're like,
Yeah.
huh, how come there's like two coins and a lot of fucking rock on the ground? What happened here? And like every coin is just a scam except for the two big ones, which just haven't gotten to the point yet in which they're going to become scams. Like,
And meanwhile, a lot of people are getting scammed on account of it.
well, I mean, that's just economy. I can't change
It's
that.
just economy.
That's just
No,
how
that's-
economies work.
That's
Um,
that's the aspirational nature of the system that allows people just to fall for.
Well, think
for,
about it this way: what
this
is
sort of
what is
stuff.
Bitcoin worth right now? It's worth $62,000 for one
Wow.
coin. And
That is
just
double the amount of time, the amount that last time I looked, which was
and
a
a
few
year
years
ago, it was worth 15,000. So
Oh, there we go.
uh,
Then I looked. It felt like 2 years ago that I looked, but it was actually just 3 months.
the year, that's not too bad.
That is
In
what
a
time
year-
feels like now.
That is indeed.
To go up that percent, that's pretty good. However, let's see, that's a year. If we look at the 5-year mark,
And the thing is, with this amount of inflation, and only 25% of the people who buy it actually make money with it. So how do you see how predatory it is? The whole thing. You have a 1 in 4 chance of making money with it if you get into the system.
yeah, I mean, this is obviously this is the reason why you see a lot of what is it? A lot of malware and such being related to mining, making your whatever mine coins, is because there's this huge incentive that if you can just get one stupid fucking coin, you just have $62,000 right there. That sounds way easier than getting a job and making $62,000.
Yeah.
Like that's
Which,
way
I mean,
more
mood.
work. You could just get one coin.
Yeah.
Um,
One coin
what
is a
you-
lot of work, though. Like,
well,
to mine
that's
yourself,
that's
you
not
need-
important. It's not about the work, because if it was about work, you just go get a job. It's about the
Yeah.
fact that
I say work for the machine, but
yeah, like one of these numbers is a lot lower, and you can get to that low number presumably faster than you can get to the other big number. So it also is something you don't have to do. Like, it's the greatest thing. You don't have to work for it. It's some kind of robot machine that will do it for you. Some computer just crunches a bunch of math numbers like
And
a
that's
nerd,
and
then
the
you get
only
money.
cost is the environment.
Well, the environment
Yep.
doesn't matter because you have $62,000. You can go buy a car and kill the environment more.
I mean, to be
Um,
fair to Bitcoin, pretty much all the other investments that you make with money also are terrible for the environment. At least the
Hooray.
investments that make money.
I'm pretty sure most economies are bad for the environment. It's kind of
Yeah, well,
you have to
yeah.
you have to consume in order to profit.
You don't though. Like if we
You
had an
don't?
economy, if we had an economy based around, like personal enrichment. I'm just, obviously this is very simplistic in the way I'm saying it, but personal enrichment and services, like those two things. If those two things were enough for us to feel satisfied in our society,
Is visiting
Because
Chernobyl
really-
personal enrichment?
Are you uranium?
what?
Only
wait
in
a
my
minute, I didn't think
dreams.
about it like that.
I'm just
I would
thinking,
like to
like,
go to
wouldn't
Chernobyl.
it be more deadly for the environment if everyone was like self-sustainable? Because
Well, it depends on what self-sustainable means. If it means sustainable in
I'm imagining, like, food-wise,
I
you
mean,
have
is it a
access
trick
to the
question?
same food.
yeah, because you have sustainable agriculture, but you also have agriculture that isn't sustainable, that consumes resources, and those resources can be things like the earth, the nutrients in the earth, but they could be also the limit of
Spend
carbon
my
dioxide.
fucking
that
time
you produce.
farming. So
Well,
I'm gonna.
it is
Shit.
true.
I'm gonna.
You
It is
played
true that
Stardew
cities-
Valley. Get the hell out of here.
It is true that cities are less polluting per capita than sprawls or than rural areas, but that's due to transportation costs. A lot of it tends to be transportation costs. It's the roads that pollute a lot. It's all the infrastructure that pollutes as well, and obviously the transportation itself. So, like, but the trick isn't for everybody to live well, though, because you only live well as long as the system allows you to live well. So it's down to the system to not force it on us to say that if you have the latest clothes or the latest iPhone or you play the latest game with the latest skins, you're the best. It's that sort of consumerism mentality that is ingrained in all of us, that means that consuming is actually, it's at the center part of our at least shared identity when it comes to market. And
But I
obviously
like
that means that
Playing
if
the
you're
best games.
no, that's I'm not devaluing that. I'm saying that the reason why that is ingrained in us is because that gives money to a lot of people. So it's a self-fulfilling cycle. It's if watching nice movies is nice, but if nobody made any money from nice movies, a lot of fewer people would like watching nice movies because there would be fewer movies. So What I'm saying is like the cycle exists there because it's profitable, and it's nice that it's profitable. It's good that the cycle exists. But when if it's a cycle about just saying nice things to each other, that doesn't pollute. That's nice. If it's a cycle about extracting frozen dinosaur from underneath the earth and killing a bunch of people while doing it, and actually being super unprofitable, and the governments actually have to pay more for fossil fuels than they do for everything else, and it's just a big scam at the end of the day, that cycle is bad. But it's very profitable. If you invest in oil, it's very profitable. Just look at all the governments being like, yeah, we really want to stop climate change, but I'm still going to invest in coal, freaking coal, which is less profitable than oil. They still don't say that they're going to stop investing.
Well, I mean, people keep mining it for some reason. If you just stop mining it, you wouldn't really be able to do anything with it.
It's so unprofitable in comparison to so much other stuff.
What if you just set every coal mine on fire? Because then they'll just burn forever.
Oh, that's a really good idea.
Out, right?
Yeah,
that will really help climate change.
That would,
sure. I mean, at this point, you're not succeeding.
Goldberg's apocalypse.
Yeah, at this point, you're not going to like actually stop climate change, but you can make it really uncomfortable for everyone involved. Like,
that's a good idea.
Just kick it into endgame.
Because like realistically, all of this keeps it like the assumption here is that you have is that like the people performing atrocities to the planet are going to be fine because they live in a bubble where they'll have all the things that they need forever. But
and like, they're billionaires, and they're very old already.
But not if you just remove all of that. Like if the sky doesn't, if like the sky is covered in clouds, like they're noxious clouds all the time, solar doesn't work.
That's why they want to go to Mars.
You burn all of the coal, now you don't have coal as a resource. Like
the problem is to get to that point, everybody else has already gone to shit. So it's like,
oh sure,
shooting yourself to the head to kill your enemy. It's just like, aha, I gotcha. But
you don't know how strong spite is. It's the strongest force of energy humans have ever
created.
Spite
moves your brain
second
down.
Second only to cope.
Second only to cope.
And Cope Zero.
Oh, great. Diet Cope.
Diet Cope.
Yeah, my doctor told me I've had too much Cope. I need to have Diet Cope.
Did they end the brand? The Coke Zero? Sorry, Coke Zero?
I don't think so.
No.
You said it.
I did. Because the last time
why wouldn't it?
Because last time I went in and bought some, it's all like sugar free instead of zero.
Oh, interesting. No, I still have Coke Zero.
Branding.
Isn't Coke Zero? Wait, isn't zero sugar also sugar free?
Yeah, but the reason
Coke
why
Zero was 0 calories.
No, it's all the same.
No, it's zero might have everything but sodium. Excuse you.
Well, I mean, Diet Coke is no sugar because it's stevia or whatever.
Yeah, but it's basically the same thing.
Zero
the reason why
specifically no calories.
Yeah,
makes you question all the more what you were drinking.
Diet Coke is also 0 calories.
A lot of sodium.
The reason why they rebranded to zero is because Diet Coke was seen as not manly enough. So fragile little men can't drink Diet Coke.
But doesn't Diet Coke still exist?
Fragile men.
Yeah, it's sold on parallel because it's better to have multiple products and waste a bunch of resources
man is fragile
and
will not survive.
Let's never forget.
Sounds like Lady Dimitrescu.
It's still the same can. They're just putting a different color on it.
Yeah,
like I don't think. Yeah.
Do you think that's not wasteful, in the sense of the result is
I don't.
Isn't every bottled drink inescapably wasteful? I don't know what the alternative is there.
Yeah, I don't think it's like
there's not much of a leaderboard that's worth splitting hairs over.
And I don't think Coca-Cola is going to buy less cans because they have less product, like less different products. Like they would still have the same amount of cans.
What I'm saying is that
on them.
They use those tactics that pollute more to drive people who maybe otherwise wouldn't buy their product to actually buy their product. And obviously, when I'm saying this,
I don't even know if it's true that there's a different product. Like, can you? I can't prove that. I'm sure someone could, but that seems like
in the sense that Coke Zero is branded different from Diet Coke, right?
Oh, I meant the inside. Like, I don't even know if the inside, the actual Coke drink itself is different.
Yeah.
Like,
it tastes a little different, but it might as well just be like a fraction of a gram of something, and that's it.
Most people can't even tell the difference between Pepsi and Coke. can't tell me there's like a difference between Diet
You
Coke
could,
and
it's
Coke.
it's
I
it's
could
pretty.
definitely tell a difference. One's
Pepsi
gross,
and
the other's
Pepsi
good.
and Coke is really
I
easy to
can
tell
tell.
apart.
I
Is it?
tell everything apart.
Yeah,
I'm
they're really
very
different.
If
I'm a
it's
very
I
sensitive
would-
little fragile man that doesn't drink Diet Coke.
I definitely drink Pepsi over Coke every single time.
Oh, absolutely
Pepsi is
not.
good.
Oh,
Pepsi is
absolutely
dude.
not.
Oh man.
Pepsi is good only if you add
Pepsi's nasty.
lemon. Otherwise, it's so sugary.
Maybe it tastes better to vegetarians.
Maybe.
What does that mean?
He has a different palate than I do.
Yeah, he's saying that because I don't eat meat, my taste buds have gone weak.
That's not,
And-
I'm
No,
just
they've
saying
gone too
different.
No, it's
I'm
extremely
not making a
judgmental.
value judgment at all. I'm just
I know,
saying
I'm rejecting value
maybe
judgment on
because
what
you
you said
eat
and
literally
choose to
different
get
things than I
angry.
do, it secretly tastes better now or something. I
No
don't know.
way.
Stephanie was like, "Here's my I can't believe it's not bacon seed packet," and I'm like, "What is it? This I don't
Seed
understand.
packet.
What is? Let me look at this. It's the Crunchsters Beyond Bacon, vegan, gluten-free, non-GMO, nut-free. It's not. Wait, it's nut-free. Wait, I thought this was a bag of nuts. I guess seeds and grains are different.
It's just yeah.
It's not bacon and it's not nuts. What is in here?
It's bacon
Mung
nuts that are not bacon
beans.
or nuts. Mung bean. Oh yeah, those are
It's mung
nice.
beans, maple sugar, and salt, basically. Okay,
That's
that's
good.
I've had them in cakes.
that sounds like bacon to me.
I've been experimenting a little bit with my diet recently, and I've been eating some staples of vegetarian food.
Don't eat
which in-
staples. Bad experiment. I'm gonna cut you off right here.
which is just another way of saying that I have not eaten things that are not traditional here to Portugal. And so there's a lot of things from Eastern Asia and that's mostly it. But it's so flavorful, so savory. I think maybe savory is not the word, but like the flavors are so strong that I'm like I feel all the time. And like I try something new and I'm like a normal dish in front of me. I eat half of it and I'm like, oh my god, this is. Just give me some bland pasta or something to wash this down with because it's so flavorful. Do you get that? Do you get that thing, or did you get that thing, Bird, when you started being vegetarian or vegan?
Absolutely. Especially if you're going the route of what you were saying, going for like more Asian dishes. The thing is, like a lot of what I originally really liked eating for vegetarian stuff was a lot of curries. And curry is really, really flavorful because it's a lot of butter. It's a lot of butter, salt, and spices, and it's very, very full bodied. And yeah, it's really difficult to try and be vegetarian if you're trying to stick with like European traditional foods, if not damn near impossible. Because oftentimes the most vegetarian options you get are like summer squash or winter squash or fall squash. It's
Yeah,
not,
there's a lot
you
of
don't
that.
get a very good variety at all. So when you go with the Asian food, like it does open up a lot of new stuff to you. But it is also like
Squashing your
generally
vegan
it's-
aspirations.
yes.
There's
Is he always like
there's
this in the podcast?
Yeah.
I did
There's
it
there
harder
is-
when you're here. Just
Yeah,
to spite you.
there is nice. there is stuff that's not quite so intense all the time. Because like if you're
Satan,
vegetarian,
just
food is just
just
curries,
add Satan to everything.
You'd be
and,
shocked how many I've thrown
vermicelli
out,
or
by the way.
something. If you're just eating like curry pho and vermicelli or something like that all the time, then that's like a lot. That can be very heavy.
But even things like falafels, if they're good
Yes.
falafels, like if you have a bad falafel, it's bad. It doesn't taste
Yeah.
much. But if a good falafel is very flavorful. Like I can eat 2 falafels and I'm like, okay, that's good. Give
I
me the
hate-
rice, just normal white rice, and that's
I
it.
hate falafel.
I'm not a big fan, but even
Vegetarian
not
is just a
waffling on
lack of
falafel.
meat, right?
Yeah, it's lack of meat.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can have cheese and stuff.
Yeah, I don't go vegan. That's too difficult.
Okay, cool. So at least you could eat pizza. So that's like semi worth
Yeah,
it, I guess.
yeah. Vegetarian pizza, like
Vegan's a
margarita
hard
pizzas, are really
commit.
good.
What a
You gotta avoid
vegetarian
all of-
pizza? It's just cheese and bread and tomatoes. What do you mean vegetarian pizza? What's the difference between cheese
you can
pizza
just
and a
get-
vegetarian
Yeah,
pizza?
you can just get a
I'm just
margarita pizza.
saying. No, yeah. I'm just
Vegetarian
saying.
pizza's easy. Vegan's fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going vegan
That's
is
what I
so
was
hard
saying,
because you have to
like,
cut out every single animal byproduct, and then you're like, oh crap, my shampoo has animal parts in it. I have to look at every product in my life now, and that isn't
Yeah.
even food, and figure out how to get rid of all the animal stuff. You're like, what do I do?
I imagine like you kind of can't eat anything. You have to make everything yourself if you're a vegan. You cannot buy a single thing.
Yeah, you can't really eat out, hardly ever. If you
Yeah,
try
Yeah,
to go
everything's
vegan.
made.
Yes,
Everything
you
has
have
milk.
to.
Like
Yeah,
you cannot
you
like.
going vegan is way easier in very large cities. Just
Where they
because
have
the
dedicated
economies
places.
will allow you to. Yeah, it'll have dedicated vegan places. That was another thing. It made it moving to Seattle made it way easier to go vegetarian, because there were so many more vegetarian options at every single restaurant. There's a lot more just general Asian restaurants to begin with.
Mhm.
It was the first city I've lived in that actually had the kind of variety to make it possible to eat vegetarian.
Yeah, here it's basically eating out is in vegetarian is yeah, you can't do that unless you like
I mean,
maybe there's like 3 or
in
4
most other
restaurants across
places, it's like
the-
what you better really like fucking black bean burgers. 'Cause that's what you're gonna get.
I will say the vegan burger from oh, it's not vegan. It's I don't think it's vegan from McDonald's. It's I think it's vegetarian only. I think it has cheese. But it's pretty good.
Mhm.
It's pretty tasty. The
Is it like the
consistency is
Beyond
not there.
Beef type stuff, or is
Yeah,
it
I
black
don't think it
bean?
is Beyond Beef. That's the I think that's
Mm.
the Burger King. Yeah, I think Burger King has
Mm.
Beyond Beef. But the
Yeah,
McDonald's
Beyond Meat's
is-
really good. I'm quite a big fan of Beyond Burgers and Impossible Burgers.
But honestly, like it's the thing is like it's a little bit of a contradiction. No, I mean I like it. I eat every once in a while, but it's like in the sense of a contradiction in the sense of if you're trying to become vegan out of a concern for the environment, but then go to McDonald's, which is super polluting and super bad for the environment.
Mhm.
Because I think like for sure all power to anybody changing their habits, and certainly something as important as their diet for reasons of looking after the environment. But there's other things that are very, very crucial for the environment that are easy to overlook and related to diet, like for example fast food.
Well, we don't need everyone to be perfect vegetarians. We just need people to be trying.
Yeah. To
Any
that's- yeah.
vegetarians?
What? What did you say? Many?
Just any.
Oh,
Yeah.
any. Oh, yeah. It's the shifting of, I think, like it's being conscious about why we eat what we eat in the first place. I think that's the first step. Obviously, I speak as not a vegetarian, but as somebody who at least knows a little bit of why food is so polluting. And like here in Portugal in specific, we used to have a very meat-free diet throughout history.
Mhm.
Because it just wasn't necessarily very. It wasn't like basically meat production is very. What's the word? So basically, you need large swaths of land to sustain animal production in a traditional agricultural scenario. Obviously, with
Mhm.
modern day farming, it's a lot easier to use smaller bits of land to do that. But back in the day, it was nobody had cows, or if you did, it was for milk, and more or less well-off families would have a pig that they would kill once a year, and they would get a new pig. Obviously, you don't kill the same pig once a year. But so,
They
Maybe
necromance it.
that'd be pretty impressive, honestly.
but apart from
I'm
that,
a big fan of the idea of pig Jesus.
reuse, something recyclable.
reusable, yeah, sustainable pig.
But also
butchering.
remember,
Sustainable
like
pig.
everyone is still eating Jesus today, so it's pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
he's lasted a long time. Like I'm pretty impressed.
What you
about it,
actually do is
honestly.
you roast the pig verbally.
Yes, everyone
that's
knows
what-
that like the best way to cook a pig inside is by roasting it verbally.
Yeah, you have to
Yeah.
neg the pig.
You want to make sure
So-
that your roast of its life is at least 340 degrees for over a specific amount of time.
But just to finish that thought is that reality made the traditional Portuguese cooking be very reliant on a certain kind of meat or on processed meats like sausages or type of sausages, chorizo and that sort of stuff. And just a lot of dishes that are fish based because fish was more accessible, and just the shift that happened over the last, I think, 40 to 50 years because of just basically meat has entered the market in a lot more prominence, and people just, families just changed the way the way they eat, and that change isn't due to people thinking differently. It's just because it's affordable now. You can eat food, you can eat meat if you want. So
Right.
being aware of that level of control over a whole population and the choice for food, just because the market changes, being aware of that is important. I think it's the first step, because you just fall into otherwise you fall into a trap
Economics
of,
and convenience just had to meet in the middle.
Sorry?
Oh my god.
It was a fun. But the thing is, like, because it's easy to fall into the trap of
God.
I eat what I want, which is fair, but that's not a justification, because what you want isn't exclusively out of your own options. It's also, and more importantly than anything, it's due to everyone around you. I think that's the first step.
I've squashed several of them. I haven't even settled the ones that came to mind. It's been a problem.
I don't
sort of
get them though.
appreciate
I'm terrible.
Like fucking
Andrew doesn't even say anything.
I mean, I
like Colonel said
At
that
some
he was
point.
only been eating traditional Portuguese food, but now he's been branching out to the world, and I'm like, he's been branching out to the food from other ports.
I'm glad you suppressed that one.
Yeah, but now it's back.
I know.
It's back, and he said
Hope you
it.
guys liked our economics podcast, episode 2. The death
Episode
of
5.
art.
What do you mean two? It's been
'Cause
like
last-
this is.
Because last week we yelled about NFTs for like an hour, but it was
Oh,
mostly
right.
although
We yell about.
so on textually it was about NFTs, but in reality it was just about semantics for like an hour. As Andrew tried to convince us that the real reason NFTs exist is because of a secret cabal that wants to
no,
advance
I was
math.
saying that I'm just saying that is the value of those avatar NFTs, is that there's an equation that they're doing to make those random variables. Not that NFT is an entire whole. The whole thing only exists as a scam.
All the
They're
owners are going to
trick
be
you
real
out of
sad to
money.
find out that the Ethereum's not the value.
Well, Ethereum isn't real, so it has no value. Like,
Money's
Well,
not real.
it's not
Nothing-
real. Can I
Boom.
pick up an Ethereum right now? No, it's not a tangible thing.
If you print it out.
It's you can't print it out. That's paper, Keith. You put it on paper. That's a real thing.
Paper isn't money. Everybody knows that.
Oh my
It
god.
isn't. You can't print money on paper. You have to print it on stupid special paper.
That's paper still. You
No,
know
it's
it. You
different
know what I'm
paper.
saying.
It's money
Special
paper,
paper.
specifically for money. Like, but
Mm.
money actually has, like, well, it's supposed to have value. Like, it's supposed to be a proxy for something of
We'll get right
physical
on that.
value. We stopped doing that, but that was the intended purpose was that, like, a proxy for something that really exists. But Ethereum doesn't exist, and it's not a proxy for anything that exists except for like real currencies. Like, it's just a proxy for real money. Like,
You've just gotta believe.
Don't do it. Don't believe.
Don't
Don't
believe.
believe.
fine. Like, I
It's a scam.
think that there's value in like the blockchain as a technology. I think that that's
Oh, yeah.
useful. There's like
For
really
some
great
things, yeah.
yeah, it's like, the technology is beneficial to us, but using it as like a pseudo stock market is kind of like the brain dead like method of using technology. It's like, oh, I use it for making money. It's like, okay, well, I guess you could. That's an option. Not the best option use of it, but sure, go for it. Like, I don't know.
That's yeah.
Fine, whatever. I'm I would rather watch people waste money on crypto than, I guess, waste money on worse things like furry art.
No,
now.
pay your artists. Pay your artists.
Unless they're furry artists, don't pay them.
No, pay
You can
them
starve them out of
twice.
the market. Then that
Speaking
way,
of
Why,
fur-
do you know how difficult it is to the fur lines? It adds a lot of line work.
sounds like
I
a
think
you
this is an
problem, not a
opportunity
me
to launch into a
problem.
topic.
I don't think
And
people
then-
usually. I don't think people usually draw the fur lines unless they're painting, but that's more of
Also-
a stroke. In which
also
case, it kind of takes care of it
bullshit.
for itself. But anyway,
There's
speaking of
There's
guilty
a brush for that.
No.
speaking of furry art,
No.
Ryan Martinelli asks, "Do you guys have any guilty pleasures?"
Furry art? What? How does that
Matt,
tie
he's
into that?
pivoting into questions from the viewers. I'll
Okay.
leave that to you. You're the one who brought it up, Keith. Do you have any guilty pleasures?
Guilt is for fucking cowards.
Exactly. I was gonna say
Exactly.
none of my pleasures
Like
give me any
guilty
guilt.
pleasures are a stupid idea. There's stuff that I don't want to explain to my parents.
Or
It's not a
maybe say
guilty
it on the
pleasure.
podcast.
That's just like
But like I've been
Dealing with old
enjoying what
people.
I like publicly for 10 years. Guilty pleasures are a fucking stupid idea. I like
Well, but maybe
things and
let's
then I
not-
do things and fuck
maybe
you.
let's not talk about semantics.
Maybe there's something
let's not
wrong with
focus
you
on-
for not liking it, huh?
Maybe let's not talk about the semantics of it. Let's say things that people wouldn't normally understand.
Guilty pleasures is when you fuck Garrus even though he's a cop.
That's good.
I would say like my guilty
Yep.
pleasure is probably like watching people fail in a way that is in like unrecoverable. Like to the point
Damn.
where there's nothing that they can do to get back to even like
Oh.
a millimeter of normalcy. That's it. Their life is literally gone. Like
Wow.
I love seeing that. I love seeing that so much. It's like
Like, what's an example? I don't know what you're talking
That's
about.
fail porn, basically, isn't it?
So
There's a like Reddit,
like somebody
Reddit's about
somebody
that.
who's like incarcerated for life. Like that's it. You're never getting out. Your life's gone. You've just had it stripped away. You're doing menial labor for the rest of your life for somebody to make a profit off of. Your life now turns into like you're just less than cattle, because at least cattle has like some kind of release at the end. Like they get to die and not be a part of this planet, but you are stuck here doing indentured servitude for the rest of your life for someone else's profit that they're gonna just live and enjoy life with freely. And like that's just
That is guilty.
just crippling. Like
That
and
is
it could be for something as stupid as like, oops, I committed a fraud. And you're like,
again.
well, that's it. Like
Yeah.
that's
Nah, fraud doesn't land you in jail for life.
I don't know. I don't really think
It's
about
usually
like
I had marijuana while black.
sure, regardless of what the crime
Although
is.
that's
it-
not
it's
fail porn though.
And going to
That's-
jail doesn't have
it-
to be it. Like that's just one option. There's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
plenty of other ones. But like yeah,
Or like lost porn on Wall Street bets.
Yeah,
Like somebody
Yeah,
being
or
like,
like-
I dropped $200,000 on shorting
Yeah.
Tesla, and I'm like, oh, give me more of that. Oh, that's
Yeah,
good
exactly.
stuff.
Like the
I don't like that. I don't like that.
like the one I've been like my recent fixation recently has been the Herman Cain Award subreddit.
Oh, yes.
God, that is like such a good hit every time. You just read a post and you're like, yes, 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 and it's like
It's
that's
that
it.
meme. It's that meme with a guy with the red eyes. I don't know. He's in like an NFL.
Vince
commentator.
McMahon, is that what you're talking about? Where he's
think
like leaning back in his chair and he
Yeah,
gets the red
yeah.
eyes.
Yeah.
Pretty
that's
much,
the
yeah.
one.
That's yeah. That is what it feels. I love that. That is a guilty pleasure. I will sit there and like for hours read stuff like that just because it's great. And I'm not gonna go on the street and like, if I saw a person that's in like, I don't know, a bad situation in life, I'm not gonna be like, hey, look, you want to see like someone get like have their life crippled from them? And it's like,
You're not gonna Vince McMahon in public.
No, I'm not gonna go out like publicly try to explain to people why it's fun to watch other people's lives basically end. But like, I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna enjoy it privately.
Okay, okay.
Because it's
You
awful.
put me. I think you led me in the right direction for me to identify my guilty pleasure.
That's not a good sign. I shouldn't leave anybody in the right direction with that story.
Because now I'm realizing I'm not like I don't feel guilty about it, but when I explain it, I think it's worse than Andrew's. Potentially.
Oh,
Wow,
God,
that's
I
pretty
hope
impressive.
not. That should never be an option in any of these
Do you know-
episodes. Andrew's a
do you know how
nightmare
on-
person.
Okay, well, it's up to you
It's
to
on my
decide.
driver's license, by the way. It does say nightmare,
Nightmare person. Yeah.
That's why most police
Gender.
officers try to get out and go. They're just like, nope, here's your thing back. I'm
Gender
going.
nightmare person.
Make it sound like you're a fucking not NFT, SCP.
I am an SCP at
He's
this
a crypt.
point.
I mean, yes, Andrew's definitely encrypted.
Just in the woods, someone's like, there it is. It's like, nah, shit.
Yeah, he's the skeleton key.
Got me.
We've been over
He's
this.
a
Yeah, that's
Slenderman.
right.
That's
Forgot
old
about
lore.
that.
So my guilty pleasure, or one of my guilty pleasures, I have no guilt from it whatsoever. Is do you know how on YouTube there's a
no
lot
guilt.
of do you know how on YouTube there's a lot of car crash accidents and videos about people crashing their
guess.
cars?
I didn't until now, but you have my attention.
Okay, I spent
you have my Discord mute.
I spend a lot of time, not a lot of time, but probably on average 10 minutes
Let's go
a day.
with a lot of time.
It's a lot of time.
It's a lot of
watching
minutes a day.
I mean, but the thing is, I binge watch, so it's probably like every month I spend like 2 or 3 hours watching, just people crashing their cars, and I don't like those that are just fenders.
Fender bender. Yeah.
Fender benders. Yeah, I don't like those because those are no. I like the ones where people are really bad at driving. That's the good stuff. And
Idiots
and
in cars.
yeah.
So
The problem
yeah.
is it's car crashes, so people die in those, and I'm pretty sure
Not every
I've seen-
time. It's fine.
Not every time, but that's like every time, like every video you watch at least one or two is like, oof, that was height that. Yeah.
Do they
that's-
tell you that they die?
No, often no.
Guilty
No.
free. You have not
Guilty
seen
free.
a single person die. You didn't know that. You didn't go in watching for them to die. You don't know. That's not part of the equation. You had fun with the crash.
That
Everything
was the
else
risky
after
part
that,
of browsing Imager at my old job, was just like periodically be like,
car
I think
crashes.
I'd just be
Yeah.
browsing like the feed it automatically gives you or whatever the fuck, and it'd be like, oh, here's today's viral meme, and or like here's the theme a bunch of people are posting today, and here's this one format, here's another Overwatch comic or something, and then it's like, here's a fucking like really brutal crash at like a gas station or something, and you're like, I think I just watched somebody die.
Yeah.
And then that just came
Those
out
are
of
bad.
nowhere.
I avoid anything with bikes because 99% of those are, yeah. That's so anything that involves. I see a bike going, I'm like, skip. No, I don't. Need this.
I've
To
seen
be
one
fair,
that's like
that's
seared
a
in my
lot easier
mind.
to tell.
I've seen one that's like seared in my mind where I think like a big truck crashed into a bike directly into an SUV, and the bike just disintegrates, and like the guy just like sidesteps off and is out of the way and he's fine, which is why I'm fine with
Oh,
it.
that's
But
good.
like, but the bike is just gone. It doesn't
Gone, yeah,
exist.
absolutely.
The car hit the other car, and that previously had a
Yeah.
bike between them. It's like, Jesus
God.
Christ, how does anyone use these? That's terrifying.
Yeah, bikes are a death trap. They're don't that's bad.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
even get
but
on
you
a
look
bicycle these days
super
unless
cool
it's
on
like
them.
some kind of weird park. I'm not riding a bike.
I think he means bicycle, not motorcycle.
Yes.
You
Well,
don't
it
look
was
cool
it
on
was a
bicycle.
motorcycle. It was a
You just look like
motorcycle
a-
in the thing, but I'm saying like
I mean,
but I also like I want.
I'm saying the motorcycles are a death trap.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, but
I thought you were talking about
bicycles. The thing with bicycles is that you don't interact as much with heavy traffic. At least not in Europe. In America, I assume that
In
everywhere
America
is
you
heavy
do.
trappic. Yeah.
yeah, no.
But I
There's all
wouldn't-
there's
I
all these
wouldn't ride a
compilations
bicycle.
of like the bike users in New York, and it's just like stay in the bike
my
lane,
God,
and then
yeah.
it's just this horrifying impossibility. Like, what are they expecting
Yeah.
you to do?
Yeah. I've been watching, speaking of guilty pleasures, I've been watching a lot of urbanism YouTube channels lately about, urbanism and bicycles and how trains are nice. And
Your guilty pleasure is boring video essays.
What do you mean? Yes, yeah.
I don't like to watch videos.
This
about
content's
stuff
dry. I'll never
have.
admit that I'm watching it.
the thing is, I watch it over and over again. It's like I go back because there's not that many videos. It's just okay, I'll watch that one again. YouTube that just recommended me it again.
Oh no, I have 3 YouTube accounts now.
Congratulations! Oh right, that's right. That's
well, no, it's because I have the Let's Play account, I have the essay account, and then I have like a burner account that's just literally called my burner account. And its profile picture is a cell phone being thrown in the garbage.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah,
you
I
don't
know.
make comments to that one.
And it's where I upload all of my copyright stuff to test whether or not it'll be safe for YouTube before I put it on the video essay channel.
Yeah.
But like I spent so much time logged into these other 2 accounts that aren't my account, and so my subscription feed's really annoying because it's not showing me the new stuff. It's showing me like it'll just
the stuff that you've watched already. Yeah.
It'll just be like, go subscribe to these channels. And I'm like, you don't know me at all on these accounts. I hate everything you're showing me. So then I would just do like a fucking starter. I would just from memory subscribe to a bunch of channels that I would like to see more of. Like I'd be like, boom, Jay Nicholson, H Bomber Guy, Folding Ideas. Like just try to just get down a list of like just something. So as a result, when I'm dealing with YouTube shit and uploading and managing stuff on these other channels and for long stretches of time, my background noise is me just watching the same video essays over and over again.
Yeah.
And they're really entertaining. These channels, I can quickly recommend like 10 channels that have like a fucking massive library collectively. So I'm not rewatching the same videos back to back or anything. But yeah, like as a result of trying to do this new channel stuff, I'll just sit there and rewatch the entire H Bomber Guy channel in its entirety.
Yeah.
Like it's just what'll happen.
That's something else.
It's really it's all really well made. It's great.
I'm bad because I watch
like
the same
maybe it'll
video
make me better
over
at
and
it.
over
I don't
again.
know.
Like there was a period where I was working on this one particular site where I watched H Bomber Guy's Fallout 3 1.5-hour video. Unfortunately, it's very short. I watched it on loop throughout the whole week for like weeks on end. That was what I was listening to because I had to focus, but only partially. And so basically, that was what I had as background.
There's a lot of stopping and starting. Where I'll be like pausing and editing and things, and then going back and forth constantly. But no, some of these videos I've heard so many times, I can specifically like. I'll specifically fixate on like, oh, that's the weak point of this video. Like, this is the part he should have cut.
Oh, yeah.
Or this is the part that he should have done differently. Like, this argument actually doesn't make any sense. And it's like, I thought this video was genius like 4 years ago. And they're often like still really good, but I'm like, I've now like proofread them too many times, essentially. And I'm like picking up on these gaps that are in the videos. It's funny.
You have condensed them into a diamond of wood or something. If you cut it or something, because you haven't cut it. You're talking about editing your own videos. Why did I say it like that?
I'm fascinated by the craft that goes into some of these things, just the weirdness and like so many. I'm jealous of how like people have their own styles, which is neat. And I'm like, how do you get a style? What is that? Like Civi is such a weird specific thing, or like Grim.
Well, you say that you have
like
a
art,
style,
right? Like
you have a style. What are you talking about?
No, I don't. My video.
Yeah,
I've made 3 videos so far that aren't similar.
Well, they're similar in certain ways. Like, I think, I don't know if it's on purpose, but it definitely is your style. Look at the difference in your latest video, which everybody should go and watch, by the way. There's the bit like towards 40 minutes in where you have an unscripted version of you, and you see the difference between that style and then what comes right after, which is the scripted version. And you see your style show up. That's the scripted style is your style, I suppose, because the unscripted is just you saying things.
It's
you
weird.
Know what I mean?
I don't know.
If you saw that, right? You saw that difference.
Also, when you're making one of these videos, you get so deep down the rabbit hole that you already see the flaws in your video when you're finishing it, but you're like, fuck.
It's too late now. I filmed this.
You're like, hang on, doesn't this section directly contradict that other section? I don't care.
Doesn't matter after
I
a
don't
certain
care.
point.
I'm done. I'm putting it out. I'm not going back.
What section was that?
Oh Jesus. Calling me out on remembering things.
I noticed there was you had a preamp. You had a little bit of a ramble in the middle. Then you only called back to it like way later in the video, and I was like, "Oh, that's why you talked about that." But that's the only thing I noticed.
There was certain things where I would sometimes go back and add something because it better emphasizes this or that. I already noticed a gap where I didn't go back and emphasize the fact that because I complain about it's weird how all the characters are just cynically killed off and nobody even recognizes they're dead. And I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't acknowledge the fact that specifically Legends of the Guild does do that. It fixes that specific problem. Like I just forgot to go back to that point, but I was already like typing so much about like the third spin-off of the thing that I'm comparing to this thing. I'm like, I can't keep going.
Yeah, I think you did a good job.
I also call them the U.S. military and U.S. soldiers throughout the whole thing when they're UN.
They're UN military?
Same difference.
It's a UN,
the UN doesn't
something.
The UN doesn't have a standing army.
The opening
Peacekeeper
thing.
Force.
The opening thing called it something.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like Deus Ex saying that the UN is going to invade things. That's not what the UN is. The UN is just a conference. Right?
There's a peacekeeping force. It's like a...
Oh, the blue helmets, right.
Yes, the blue helmets.
But they're not
we
standing.
got Colonel
They're
at the speed.
Yeah, they're from they're detachments from
Scrabble into
countries.
the Coke can. I'll find it.
I suppose they could. Yeah, they could be. They could
Speaking
be
of
the UN.
Coke.
But they do come across as just the American army because they are the American army.
They're part of
not really.
It says
in the
United
movie-
Nations Joint Security Operations is the one reference to the UN in the entire movie. It's on one title card at the beginning of the film.
You can't write the American army away by calling it something else. That's not how American army
Well,
works.
so the UN security team is made up of multiple other.
I think the guy with the
military-
Australian accent is
Right.
Australian.
Yeah, like they're like, and Mila Jovovich was
It's probably
a US
American.
Army was a U.S. Army Ranger captain.
Yeah.
So she's still an active.
They should have committed to
ranger.
that. They should have just called her Ranger the whole movie, like in Monster
Ranger,
Hunter.
that would have been pretty good actually. That
Well,
would've been
it's
a great
Monster
name.
Hunter. Everyone's just a title. They should have just called
Well,
her
that's what I
Ranger the whole
mean.
film.
Yeah, that would have been just great.
And Ranger is a good
Right.
name. Isn't it an actual? No, that's Hunter. Hunter is an actual name. Ranger might not be.
Ranger's not a name.
Oh yeah,
You
like
wouldn't name
oh
it
yeah,
Head
people.
Ranger.
Yeah, there are people named Hunter. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Walker, Texas Ranger.
What? Someone's named Walker? That's
Yeah, Walker's a name.
Oh, Walker's Texas Ranger. Then Ranger
I mean,
is a
Hunter's
name.
also a stupid name because it's just an.
Damn. Shots
But-
fired at hunters.
I mean, yeah. Why would you
Don't
name
shoot
someone
hunters, they
after
shoot
an
you,
action? That's stupid.
After an action.
No one Andrews. That's not a thing. You can't just Andrew.
No one
People hunt.
Andrews. I'm pretty sure that Julie Andrews.
That's not how that works. You're not.
Well, see, the thing is, that's the last name, right? It's like Smith.
Yeah.
And then Julie comes from a long line of Andrewers.
Oh, but Andrew. Nobody Andrews, but somebody Wilson. I don't know.
I'm sorry. I'm just so proud of that.
I think neither works in this case. I've never heard anybody
Keats
do
works a
anything.
little bit better.
All of my jokes are
does
just for
not.
me. No one else can have them.
Thank goodness.
That's like I have the same thing, but it's only on Discord, and then I
Honey
inflict them
cakes.
on other people.
And then everyone's like, "What is he
Cakes or-
talking about?" And he'll
Or
never, we'll
Orlando
never know.
Lores. I made a Photoshop mashup of Fernando Alonso's face with Lando Norris's face, and I called him Lando Lores, and then I laughed a lot.
It's really fun. I guess we should contextualize this because we never actually introduced it or whatever. But like, I did a video essay on the Monster Hunter movie, which I thought no one would want to watch because it's so late. I was late. I was so late to watching it that I watched it in a hotel on a hotel TV on demand because I was bored on a family trip. And
Sorry.
Fair.
yeah, it's where life was. And
And
but
this
I-
was before. Was this before the pandemic?
No, it's a 2000. I think it's either late 2000 or early 2011 or 2001. Sorry, late 2020 or early 2021 movie. I think, but it was just. I just
Too
watched
late
it and
then.
it was kind of dumb, but it was like, I don't know, popcorn, whatever. I watched it at the end. I don't have that many feelings about it, but then I kept thinking about it over time, and it's like, oh, that's the mistake. Here it goes.
That's
I'm
how
doing
it
the
gets you.
thinking again, which kind of becomes
like
like
me
a through line. It's one of those movies that you're like, it's fine if you don't think about it too much. So let's think about
And
it
you
too
did.
much is like the premise of the video, and it's a movie that fails on almost every level. It has cool CG monsters here and there that look pretty good. Probably because of the U.S. military. That's one of the things I fucked up. I didn't talk about the U.S. military funding that almost certainly happened in that movie. I didn't even bother researching
Yeah,
it.
that's why I'm saying it is the U.S. military, and you can't write it away by naming it something else.
I definitely should have spent time talking about how
the
it's
U.S. military.
definitely the U.S. military. Like it's definitely like that's gross, creepy, weird shit. Which since I held a whole part talking about the indigenous people, which is like the most nerve-wracking part of the entire video. That's like the most nerve-wracking part of the whole video is just being worried about like handling that and not only getting it right or wrong, but also like being figuring out how to like temper like how hard do I go on this, like, and like how many people am I gonna piss off, and like how gung-ho am I gonna be about this particular part of the video. Was like a stressful thing to edit several times over and over again, both in script and video form, trying to figure out how to go about that.
It was a relatively small part of the video, though. I think
it shrank a lot.
Oh, shrank. Okay. Yeah, because there's a lot of perspectives to it.
There's interesting things. There's lots to deal with about like how you're writing for like the part of the audience that's like, this is brutally obvious, and why are you even pointing out like, wow, you're not even saying anything because this is so incredibly obvious. And then there's the gamers where like literally nothing is racist unless it's like a lynching or the N-word. Like anything less than either of those two things are just literally not racism. Like they can't even begin to recognize it because, you know, they think CRT is the enemy, and, and like there's like two massively different audiences. I deal with the same stuff with like the Beastars script I keep poking at, where it's like, who do I write this for? Like, because like there's like people with the most rudimentary nothing understanding of any of the stuff here, and then there's the people where it's like this will be basically condescending to talk about, where I'm explaining the stuff, and it's like I don't know. The answer does not exist.
Did you like in regards to that in regards to the Monster Hunter World, or no, Rise movie? Is it World? Which one is it?
It's Monster just Hunter, Monster US Hunter. Army. It's I mean, it uses the characters and the setting of Monster Hunter World, but it has the enemies from like Monster Hunter 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they are.
I don't know. Pikachu syndrome.
You never explained. You dropped the word a few times, and you never explained what an isekai is.
I think I did. I think that was literally the opening section.
Yeah, I thought you explained an isekai in the beginning.
Yeah, I literally have a section titled Isekai where I explained isekai.
Oh, I'm bad.
I cut so many parts. One of the fucking cringe things about making these kinds of videos is that you want to be self-aware and call out all of the dumb things about yourself and so on. And I had so many segments that are like that kind of shit where I just kept cutting it, where it's like, oh yeah, I'm on camera now, look at me, here we are, I lost all my drip in an accident, there were no survivors, like just trying to like fucking humor away weird awkward elements. Like there's like so many like tangents and asides that you go into reflexively, almost like on a defensive perspective, because you're essentially putting a lot of time into a thing where you're being vulnerable in some way, and I just cut like thousands of words of garbage. It's weird. I don't know who these videos are for or how to make them.
I think you're. I disagree that you don't have a style. I think you have a style, but I also think you have. You're on the right path.
All I know is Grimbeard made me sad about a fake dog, and I'm not there yet.
Grimbeard.
Grimbeard's great. No, I don't know how many people know Grimbeard, but he's a video game reviewer that does the horror, like sort of horror and jank stuff a little bit, sort of akin to like Ragnarok's and so on. But he's got, but like he's one of those people that also like makes his own music, and it's like, oh, that is a hell of an edge to use on your channel. You can make your own music, and you have your whole your goth aesthetic, and he's got these like somewhat Plinkett style like GoPro segments where he's like first person existing and doing things, and that's just like, oh, that's just interesting. How do you? I have no idea how people think of like like stuff to do.
Guess you gotta pick up the guitar, don't you?
I have no idea how people think to like interject skits and so on and all their stuff. That's like interesting to me.
feel like skits are kind of
I-
just like you write them, you think that they're good enough to go into a video, and then you
Yeah.
just kind of write around that idea.
I'm
You gotta,
pretty
like-
sure that's how it works. Yeah.
Gotta put the energy
Yeah.
in specifically for that exact idea.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a lot of the channels that I see that use skits as well come from, like, you look at their older videos and it's just skits, and then they start branching out and complaining about whatever that they complain about. Because
Like
let's be
how
frank,
Hot Diggity Demon was an animator that did like just did comedy animations, and now he does like essentially like reviews or rants or whatever that are like 3D animated entirely, which is a lot. Jesus
Wow.
Christ. I encountered a channel I think like 2 nights ago that I binged their entire channel. There's this, I think, was her name Ro Ramden or something? They do these like rant videos that are like very comedy oriented, and they feel like they're really densely written, and I swear they have to be scripted, but she also puts out one like fucking like every 4 days, it feels like she's put out a half an hour video like once or twice a week, I think, for the last 3 weeks, and she doesn't have a backlog before that. She's less than 1 month old channel, and she has 20,000 subscribers. What the fuck? And she's like 20, and I'm like, they're coming for us.
oh, yep,
This is it. I'm old. I'm being passed up.
I think the like if
I
you
got in too late. I
if-
can't appeal to the TikTok crowd. I don't even know what they're talking about anymore.
if you do unscripted stuff and just edit out the misspeaking, it requires you to have a cadence of speech that allows for you to edit that. And I think Let's Play trains us to be very much that, and I think you specifically, Keith, and I as well. But
I misspeak so many times.
But
There's
you
there's
go back
parts
to the
where I'll
beginning,
get to the
though.
thing and I'll suddenly have like a full minute of takes of just me doing one line over and over again, and then even the version that's in the final video still has me misspeaking because none of them were good. There was just one that I thought was good, and then I listen back and I fuck it up anyway. You're like, oh
reading
no.
is very different. Reading is very different than when we're talking just improv, because I noticed that as well when I'm editing my streams. Like I have it's that principle of you start a sentence and then you go back to the beginning when you realize that you're doing a mistake, instead of like just continuing it and said something wrong, and that allows you to edit out a bunch of those half sentences, or not even, it's just like a word that you just say at the beginning. And like when I'm explaining this right now, I'm doing that as well, because it's just our way of talking. So with a lot of editing, you can edit out a ramble that it can be meandering, or it can be it doesn't matter. Like you can just repeat yourself. You can do all the terrible things that podcasters do.
No,
and then as long as you come out with a cadence, you edit out all the silences and misspeaks, you just sound like somebody who knows what they're talking about. So it is easy. Like if you're good at what you're talking, even if it's not structured, the end result is nice to listen to, because you
I'll
sound
probably
like
put it in the behind the scenes on Patreon or something, but like that one random unscripted aside that happens as a result of technical difficulties, basically. It was that 1 minute section about Werewolves Within was like 8 minutes long. And it was not scripted, so I just was randomly talking about this thing, not even knowing if I'd include any of it. And if the fucking illusion is pulled off, it looks like that was a 1 minute thing I said out of nowhere, but it was like 8 minutes, and there's parts where I skip ahead by like 3 minutes in the middle of that clip.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
I skip so far
Editing is
ahead, and
magical.
those are not direct back-to-back thoughts at all. And it just
Editing
I
is
edit them
magical.
like it's an essay where you can only use the pre-written words. Like it's like to writing an essay for your teacher that is itself made of like fucking sentences you cut out of the back of a cereal box and have to place back together into a coherent message.
It takes a long time, and I know you're struggling with it in the sense of like it takes a long time. But I honestly think that editing is really rewarding because of that, because you're just creating something.
All week. I didn't record a single Let's Play this week. I literally just edited.
Watched me
all
play
week.
Celeste. That's how fucked up you were.
Yeah, I was watching you play Celeste while I was editing at the same time. But I was just so tired
That's like when
at that point.
earlier in the year I had to get a root canal, and I was in so much pain, I just watched you all play Final Fantasy 14 instead of doing anything
You were
else.
watching as a raid while having no idea what was happening on the screen.
Well, I was on a
watched-
lot of painkiller meds too at the time, and I was like, I was like also really sad and depressed because it was, it's painkiller meds. You're in pain, and then on top of that, the meds are also like a major like CNS depressant. So I was like, I'm really sad, and I want to spend time with my friends. So I'm gonna watch them play Final Fantasy 14.
Yeah.
No, there's a
I
real
watched
like
Final
You all got your
loneliness.
ass kicked. There was not a single night that I watched you like actually beat the raid. By the way, every raid you died within like 3 minutes of starting it.
That was when we were
was
playing
hilarious.
stuff at like the intended level, I think. So it was like a huge
Yeah.
pain, and it was like the hardest raid in the game, seemingly. There's so much that first major raid is so much random bullshit. It's like, here's the giant dragon that swoops across the entire map and physics is you to an instant death and has no like thing on the ground showing where it'll be. So just fucking judge it in 1 second, go. And it happens like 5 times back to back each time. You're like, I don't what the fuck, everyone has to, like, and it's like it's a raid, so it's like it's not, the difficulty isn't like, can I personally survive this mechanic? It's like, can literally everyone in the raid survive this mechanic every time? Because that's the only way you survive a raid, basically. Like, you have to have so few deaths. Admittedly, you can have more deaths in Final Fantasy because of how easy they make rezzing by comparison compared to like WoW. But like, it's still like you have your entire raid has 3 lives. Good luck.
Oh.
It is a nightmare.
So just to go back to that renting become good when we edited.
Become
I recently tried the new early access of Darkest Dungeon 2, and the first stream that I did, I had an hour-long rant after I tried it for the first time, and talking about how I felt about the game and how it compared to the previous game and all that. And it was super meandering, and it was answering questions from chat and all that. And then I edited into 20 minutes of a Let's Play episode. It works. It worked out. It's like magic. It's incredible. Because speaking of which, no, you're not gonna be playing Darkest Dungeon 2, Keith. You like Darkest Dungeon so much.
I mean, I never beat Darkest Dungeon 1 because of the specific context in which I played it, I guess. I don't know what would have happened if I played Darkest Dungeon 1 just from scratch when it came out finally, or even if even that wasn't the right answer. Like, still there was more updates where they added Radiant mode where it might have been better with Radiant mode.
No, that's a trap. No.
Radiant mode wasn't better? Wasn't that the one that made it so the game wasn't fucking 1 billion hours long?
That's the thing. I think people confuse that a lot, but I might be wrong, obviously. But I think like Radiant mode is a necessity. So for those who don't know, Radiant mode is basically a faster version of the game where progression happens faster. But I think it's a necessity because the very first expansion of the game makes the game so much longer because it adds content and it adds new classes that you need to level up if you want them. But it adds also things that like force you to waste time in the sense that, well, I guess this week you're going to have to do this particular mission that you didn't expect to do. And like, just as a comparison, a point of comparison, I never played Radiant mode on camera, but my Let's Play series, I'm talking off the top of my head, I'm not going to look it up right now, but my initial version of the game, I played on normal, 68 episodes, finished the game. This is off the top of my head, so I might be wrong. But the second one was like 140. And it was the second one was because of the first expansion, and it was also on normal mode. So you can see why Radiant mode is so necessary.
God, that's so much Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, I think the best version of Darkest Dungeon.
I feel like
you
you pretty quickly just hit a point where you're like, all right, I get it. Like, I've seen basically all the permutations of what the combat is, and then the game keeps going on for like 5 times as long as that. It's just not that deep. At some point, the game becomes easy. You're like, okay, I'm destroying this game because I know I've run the algorithms. Like, in my head, I know what my response to every situation, and there's only like a handful of situations eventually. Mm-hmm. Eventually, I just couldn't play the game anymore because I had to willingly destroy my own soldiers to proceed, and I'm like, I'm not gonna do that because like I was too good at the game. I was too good at the game. Because
That's only one minor thing. That's one minor thing that happens.
So
It
stupid.
can happen.
That
It
was
doesn't
so
happen as much
stupid.
with the expansions. But I don't know if you want to talk about Darkest Dungeon 2, because if you're gonna play it, I might color your perspective.
I mean, I don't think I'll play it because it's like one of those infinitely grindy, time wasty kind of games that like I just really have fallen out of favor with, and like the idea of playing that game is so unappealing when I could play entire
2,
other games in that time.
Darkest Dungeon 2. I'm gonna tell you what it is in 2 stages so that you can get it into your head. Darkest Dungeon 2 is basically Slay the Spire. Have you played Slay the Spire?
I played exactly once and won and never played it again, so I have 100% win rate.
Yeah, it's that, except
Andrew was there. It was for charity.
Except you go through with a cart and you kill monsters. It's basically that. You start off with a preset number of preset characters. So you start off with 4 characters, and you cannot change them. And when you die, you start again, or you succeed, and then you start again. And
the idea that the Darkest Dungeon is now Slay the Spire is actually hysterical, because like covering indie games, I've watched the fucking industry chase both of those tales for like the last like 5 years. Like there are so many Darkest Dungeon and Slay the Spire clones, so the idea of Darkest Dungeon itself becoming a Slay the Spire clone is incredible.
But the thing is, the fact that you cannot change when you play the game the first time, you cannot change your characters. You need to unlock other characters by playing the game over and over again. So I think it's more grindy now because you're having to play the same content with the same characters. Sorry?
Genshin the Spire.
Genshin the Spire. Genshin.
Slay the Impact.
Yeah,
God.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. I think the game is now more grindy because in order to unlock everything, you need to spend hours and hours and hours and hours. And then when you do unlock everything, after you've beaten the game a bunch of times already and failed as well, you just have everything. And I think it's more grindy now. Because Slay the Spire is like FTL. It's a game where the first experience, and you said it yourself, like you've played it for the first time and you beat it. And there's people doing that in Darkest Dungeon 2. I played it 2 times and I got miserably destroyed. But that's irrelevant to how enjoyable it is, because you've seen the game already. You're only gonna play it again if it's meaningfully different, right? Like that's why I think FTL is so fun, is because you have a new ship or even the scenarios are so different that it is a fun game to play over and over again. But and Slay the Spire plays more with the encounters than anything else. But Darkest Dungeon isn't that though. Darkest Dungeon doesn't have variance in the encounters. It's different monsters here and there, but it's not enough for that. So I'm kind of curious to see where it's gonna go, but it's also a big letdown, honestly, because I really like the original Darkest Dungeon. Like I think last week or a couple of weeks ago, I said in this podcast that I pre-ordered the Steam Deck, and one of the games that I want, and I said it out loud. I think maybe it didn't come out right, but I said it out loud. I think that one of the games that I want to play on the Steam Deck is Darkest Dungeon, because I think it's a good game to play on the go. To pick up and play, you know what I mean?
I think I'm burned out really quick on the entire roguelike craze, where it's just like endless, like it's games you can play forever, but it's actually mostly just like a relatively samey experience that repeats forever. And it's like it's like someone in like an NFT algorithm tried to find the way to like get the most possible technical variance out of a relatively shallow pool of content, and so they try to make what are essentially 5-hour games into 100-hour games. And I'm like, I kind of just want to play the good version of each of these games. Like, can I play the good version? Can I play a handcrafted version of any of these games? Because I feel like it'd be better.
But the thing is, like, I think games like Darkest Dungeon, but not just that. Like the one where Isaac.
Yeah,
I think it's Isaac. Yeah.
What's the name of that Isaac game?
The original version of Don't Starve. there's a lot of games like that where the mechanics are really quite simple, and so the repetition is the point. Like it's not. I think the original Minecraft kind of went in that direction as well. If you really liked that first night survival aspect of the game, and I think that's one of the reasons why 7 Days to Die was designed the way it was at the beginning, was because it was meant to be a repetition kind of game, and then they just backtracked away from that because people are not into that. I'm not saying that the market likes that sort of repetition, but it is a sort of experience. The sort of I suppose Caves of Dark Days Ahead is an example of that, because Dark Days Ahead is a lot closer to Rogue than any of the games that we've been talking about. But the sort of, oh, this run is really good. Look at this. I wonder how long I'm gonna last, and then you lose the character. And, well, I guess let's find out a new one. But I don't know. I understand that people don't like that. I can take it or leave it, honestly, personally. But yeah.
I feel like I play roguelikes kind of sporadically. There'll be times where I feel like it's something I want to do, but I also lose that feeling very quickly after a couple of runs where you're like, all right, that was fun, but goodbye forever.
Yeah.
I feel like, just like anything, it's like a mood. It's a feeling that you have. Like, oh, I want to do something that's familiar enough to me that I feel I can actually feel the progress I'm making in my skill. But once you get to a certain point, you're like, okay, well, I'm not trying to become the champion. I just wanted to feel good for a brief amount of time.
Eventually a lot of those games devolve into like a bunch of new game pluses. Like Slay the Spire does that. And then that's usually when I drop off. It's like, okay, I reached the end. And it's like, oh, but there's actually like 7 more endings. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's nice.
It's funny because I always think of Dead Cells as a really good example of a roguelite kind of game. I just think it plays really well. It's really fun to play, like in the the gameplay. I never finished that game, and I go back to it and I play for a few hours, and I'm good. I'm satisfied. It's so fun on the immediate, but it's not rewarding enough for me to really invest time and skill to finish it, because I'm sure I could, but you need builds, you need to have like all these stats to finish it. I can't be bothered.
Then get the builds, Colonel.
No, I can't. I would rather play Diablo 2 again and reach level 99 on single player.
Single player. Oh Jesus!
I've reached it twice.
I remember using C3PO map hack to do bail runs.
Nice.
No,
that's how you get those magic up items or magic find items.
SOJs. Remember when SOJs Stones of Jordan were like a currency or something. I remember I wanted my delirium rune word, so I turned into a little stabby skeleton.
Yeah, I never experienced the multiplayer of Diablo.
Oh, weird.
Didn't have internet.
Crazy.
It's like the only thing most people remember about Diablo is the multiplayer part.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's only single player, and mostly everybody that I know. Sorry,
I didn't even know they made other things.
Most of the people that I know from childhood that liked Diablo, it's also from single player.
I only really recall the multiplayer. It was really good.
I said Diablo, but it's Diablo 2 specifically.
Then you go on those open servers where everything's just hacked. You get one shot by just an impossible concept.
By a living Frost Nova.
I'm a barbarian that shoots boxes. Woo! Just there are no rules anymore. That was weird. That was a weird aspect. The idea that there was just like, here's the hacked version of online where everyone has weird shit going on. It was like Warcraft 3 mods, but with a vague threatening feel, like they could get you and go after your shit.
And kill you, yeah, they would.
Yeah. That was the game where I got conned on really hard. I think I've talked about that before, though. But
Warcraft 3?
No, Diablo 2 was the first time I got like scammed
You
online.
get
I
like
guess.
gold dropped or whatever. Drop your gold on the floor and I'll double it.
No, somebody
Gold
asked
doubling?
me. Somebody was recruiting me into their guild supposedly, and I just had to go to this website and click on this link,
Oh,
and like instantly ran a script where it maximized Diablo again, clicked on all of my inventory slots, and clicked on the ground in like an infinite loop. So I just dropped all my
wow.
stuff on the ground.
Damn.
And then I think he looked at what I had, and then he just left. Like he didn't even take it because I didn't have anything worth taking. I wasn't like one of those hyper obsessed Diablo players that had cool shit. Like I never really
weirdly nice of them.
I never hit a point really where I understood the economy, which was like an esoteric barter system where people just agreed certain things were worth stuff or something. I don't know how anyone even really decided what anything was worth. I also
Probably a
wasn't
lot
sure
of BB forums.
I wasn't even entirely sure what the end game items were for, because like you could
It
do
was
bail
magic
runs. You could use
It was
bail
finding
runs to get to
magic
like
bind, to get more
maximum
magic
rank
bind.
in like a week on any character.
Diablo 2 was the original NFT. We heard it here first.
I feel like the game didn't even have like an end game or anything. Like nowadays, there's like an infinite torment system or something, and like the Diablo 3 is like a roguelike basically, where it keeps randomizing things forever, and like there's
I
less a
don't play
campaign and more like an infinite crawl where you just hit level infinity thousand.
They did away with the nightmare and hell systems.
Like I remember watching a friend of mine streaming to Facebook of all things, and whenever he clicked on something, it did like 70 billion damage, like just incomprehensible, kind of irritating numbers, basically, like just massive numbers on the screen whenever he did a single thing. And it's a game where all you do is click, so it's like he's not even. There's no thinking in this game. But look at all the numbers; it's telling him he's doing good. I'm like, and then I was like, this is gross. I hate this.
It is.
I don't like games that just tell you you're doing a great job constantly, but then you don't really like ever think or make choices. It's just like.
Do you know what the problem was? Like, I followed Diablo 3's development closely, very closely, and regarding the difficulty. So, for those who don't know how Diablo works, Diablo 2 specifically, and Diablo 3 originally, is you finish the game once and then you unlock a next level of difficulty. The game calls it a next level of difficulty, but it's really just New Game Plus. And you can go back and forth, but it doesn't. That detail doesn't quite matter. It's just a difficulty level.
Diablo 2 had a New Game Plus system where you went to Nightmare and then Hell difficulty, and then the game just genuinely got harder and harder to the point where, like, specifically Hell difficulty, I think every enemy has at least like 2 immunities, and the elites and bosses have like multiple immunities. So you're like, fuck, what type of attack can I even use?
It's
like,
really difficult.
You needed a diversity of strategies or a party.
Or a party, yeah. But the way Diablo 3 originally worked was also like that, but Activision Blizzard, in their infinite wisdom, they decided, you know what, we're going to have another difficulty level, so it's going to be a better game. And so they had the normal, Nightmare, and Hell, and then Inferno. And then people were like, Inferno is too difficult, because they advertised that Hell was just as difficult as Hell was in Diablo 2. Inferno was just going to be something you were gonna be smashing your head against for months and months. And Inferno originally was quite difficult. It was basically impossible to beat unless you just spent hundreds of hours farming for items or actually bought them on the original real money auction house.
The auction house, yeah.
Which was the real reason why they added the Inferno difficulty in the first place, was for you to only be able to beat that difficulty by buying special items from people who actually
did not last.
No, it did not. But also the Inferno difficulty didn't last either. What ended up happening was that people actually went out and bought the items and beat the game in Inferno. And then Blizzard was like, oh, wait, the people who actually spend money are stopping to play our game because they beat the Inferno. Let's add Inferno Plus levels. And they added Inferno Plus 5 up to Inferno Plus 5, which was just even harder and harder and harder. And that whole nonsense ended up, like, I think a year after release, and then they just have what they have right now, which is, it's just harder levels after harder levels. You can just say, I want difficulty 43 instead of 42, and it's just more numbers.
And then it loops forever and ever and ever and ever.
You don't even play the game anymore. People just play what's known as rifts, which is just raids, but it's not. It's
a crime that 100% of that they didn't lose literally their entire audience, and they didn't all just instantly become Hades fans when that same infinite difficulty curve was done in a compelling way.
I never played that for very long in Diablo 3 because
I think Hades is a much different tone.
Hades is a lot more about your skill than
It's
Diablo 3 is, though.
good.
Well,
Hades
it's not
requires
about
you to
whether
be a
it's
good
good.
player.
It's about whether it's a comparable game. I don't think people who would play Diablo would want to play Hades. I don't think that's
Because they basically want
It's the
a
clicker.
gotcha
Diablo is
game,
a clicker.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, they want
Well,
a free
well,
gacha game.
Yeah, it's closer to a strategy
I'm probably
game.
gonna hop off here at this point.
All right, send me your shit. Get
Will
the fuck
do.
out of here. All right, we can talk about the crazy shit now.
Oh
the
yeah, now I'm
furries.
gone. Now you can.
Now that he's
you can
gone.
get the X-rated shit.
There
Who
we go.
knows?
Fine.
There you go. All right, I'll
Thanks
send
for
you the
stopping
stuff.
by, Bird, and clearing our
Yeah.
minds on what NFTs are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't intend to do that, but hopefully I
You
did.
did not.
Did you have a topic you were burning to get to today?
No, I was just really bored.
On the plus side, we didn't even touch
Anytime,
the fact
Bird.
that we didn't touch the fact
Anytime.
that the IRS now are starting to claim NFTs as real art. So now you have to put them on your taxes.
Yeah.
It's
which is,
really fucking funny that happened.
doesn't look good for
kinda
a lot
funny,
of
yeah.
crypto people because they're not ready to file taxes with expensive art. But
It's just them calling their bluff. Oh yeah, it's about art. All right, let's make it about art then. You want to know how the art world
Yeah.
works, motherfucker?
basically, yeah, basically
See,
anybody.
You're about to get a
Yeah.
lesson like when a YouTuber finds out they have to pay quarterly taxes.
If you received more than $10,000 in crypto for anything, which some of these things are supposedly going for a lot more than that, you now have to report that to the IRS.
Let's be honest. The way the world of art works, or the world of art works, is you need to establish a foundation with your name on it, and then you don't pay taxes, and that's how you avoid the taxes. That you know,
The
Yeah.
NFT, the Lazy Lions Foundation.
yeah.
Oh
It's-
no!
that's
wait
why.
a second.
That's why basically, but that's how Melinda and what's the name of the Gates?
Melinda and Bill
Guy.
Gates. I think it's just
Bill
the
Gates,
Gates
that's-
Foundation, maybe.
Yeah, the Gates Fund. That's how it started, and that's how it usually is.
It's also a
Whenever
PR
somebody-
thing, and it works. Whenever I talk about them, they're like, "What are you talking about? They're so good."
No,
They look at
No, they're not.
their charitable foundation where they only do good things. There's
it's not
definitely
charity.
not like
They're basically
yeah.
every foundation like that is taking money from the public to give to whoever they like, which oftentimes is themselves, and label it charity, which is just
It's basically
it's
pretend
phenomenal.
charity and a PR firm to rehabilitate billionaires into seeming like they're good people. And people
But the
are
thing is
not ready for that discussion because
The thing that
they're
lost-
so ready to think that their nerd boys is great. I mean, it's part of the
Not
gamer
bad.
culture shit too, where they want to idolize
too.
billionaires that present as nerdy because then they more than anyone else they think that those are people that they think they can like be, and it's like no,
Ooh, even more fun.
Elon
Well-
Musk is not your friend.
Not only does this law doesn't happen until 2023, so there's some time for everyone to just throw away all of their NFTs. But in order to file the form needed, you also need to obtain social security numbers of the buyers.
Ooh,
Oh.
that's interesting.
What a fucking ask! What a terrifying ask!
Literally
of a
just-
decentralized currency. You have to get the socials. That's like going on 4chan and be like, "All right, boys, tell me your name." Like, no one's gonna show up and give that to you.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Oh my!
Wow,
I
I
can't
didn't-
wait.
do you
Do
think-
it.
I
Do
didn't realize
it.
the
Like
IRS
that?
was in the business of killing art. That was their
Do you think
new
it's all just gonna
calling.
crash when it
Oh,
happens?
it has to. There's no way because these people are going to get fined for so much money by not providing these details, and no one's going to provide these details.
Yeah.
You think you buy a stupid like MS Paint looking lion piece of shit you got from a 6-year-old, and you're going to tell that person your social security number? No, no, you're not telling nobody your social about buying an NFT. That's not happening.
Yeah.
God, what is stupid. What is stupid but great at the same time law. It's one of the rare times that somebody with a lack of technical knowledge writing a law has actually been beneficial to us as a society.
Yeah, that's interesting. I
Well,
look
it'll
forward
be fun to
see-
watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
I
whole
like-
thing
I like-
has
yeah.
been what a fucking circus.
I don't think it has been fun though.
Oh, it
It's-
has
it's
been
a-
fun.
Like,
Yeah,
Like,
it's,
look at
it's our Joker origin story.
especially for us gamers, look at the price of graphics cards right now.
Oh yeah, that wasn't great for me when I had to rebuild my computer.
Yeah, like they if you want the same level of performance that you had for I don't know, let's say $400, the same level of performance you had 4 years ago is the level of performance that you can buy today for $400. It's basically stagnated the whole market for 4 years, if not
Yeah.
more in some markets. So basically, like, obviously, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing in some aspects. It would be nice if that stagnation resulted in fewer graphics cards being bought and so less waste being made. But no, they're just being bought just the same or even faster. They're just going to people who are using them to consume big amounts of energy to make made up NFT things.
There's
So
this
it's not
nonsense
even-
about NFTs being the future of gaming, and it's like it's like while that's being said, those same gamers are like, still trying to get my PS5 any day now, please.
No, yeah, exactly. Even consoles.
Can I have a
Even
PS5?
consoles.
It's been a year.
Let me look it up. How much I can buy a PS5 for?
Are they a year
right now.
old yet? Like we're like far into it. It's like what games are on the PS5, and it's like no
PS5?
one even
Yeah,
knows because
PS5.
no one has one.
PS5's a year old.
It is a year old in a week for us. No, actually, less than a week.
Jesus Christ!
It's this week. It's
Here
November
we are.
12th.
I've
Yep, November
called it.
12th.
You have one.
Yeah,
though,
it's been
don't
almost
Yeah, I
a
have
year.
one.
Let's see. What games
I
are on
played
it?
Lock on it and Demon's Souls and nothing else.
you? Demon Souls, the
So
only
here's
game
a
that
list.
mattered.
Here's a list.
Oh,
of
I know. I was
the
technically I
top-
played I played that special event for Monster Hunter World on it.
Here are the
Oh.
top 10 best PS5 games you can play right now.
Best feature of
yeah.
the PS5 is the fact that you can just play all of your old games, including
You've
their
got
saves.
You've got Deathloop,
No, like-
Ratchet and Clank,
PC.
the Final Fantasy VII remake,
That's
Ghost of Tsushima,
Tsushima.
Returnal, Demon Souls,
or Returnal. is a year-
Spider-Man Miles Morales,
I think people are
That's not
about ready to
exclusive.
returnal their PS5s.
Astro's Playroom, the demo.
Yeah, that was like the love letter to PlayStation's history platformer game or whatever,
okay.
where everything's
the
like
Pathless
themed.
and Hitman 3, which I'm gonna be honest here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of these games already existed before the PS5.
Yeah.
What was this
And
list? Was
the-
it like the top sellers or something, or most played games?
Yeah, I think these are just like top 5. or top
That's
10
the other
PS5
part of the
games.
stagnation. It's not just that people can't get better graphics in their games because that's nice, but
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean,
It's
as
also
much as
the
I
games
like seeing
themselves.
from software recognition, like their big launch title was a game that came out in 2009.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
I mean, I
pretty
guess
underwhelming for your next gen.
I guess the argument here is that there is a lot more coming out soon. Wow, if you go to like the homepage for the PS5, it's not any better. It's like Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Demon Souls, Sackboy,
The
it's not-
Adventures.
and
in
Ratchet
the-
and Clank and Spider-Man.
Releasing
like
a Sackboy game while turning around and also shutting down the servers for Little Big Planet.
Mm.
Take that.
And
fans.
They care
And
so
in the
much about their
graphics-
legacy.
In the graphics card department, I was looking up right now the prices I could pay. I bought my graphics card 2 years ago for 325 euros, and if I want one
Wow,
of
that's a lot of
similar
sandwiches.
performance, that's a lot of sandwich. I mean, I went all out, and it was more than I wanted, and it was already inflation.
I guess they're
prices at the time.
wraps.
But right now, if I want, like, if
gyros?
my graphics card dies and I want to play the games that I play at the same level of quality, I have to shell out between 600 and 750 euros for a similar graphics card because mine is old and doesn't get sold anymore. So this is 2 years. Things should be cheaper. They're not. They're twice the price or more.
Oh, when's that coming out?
Then you get the special Let's Player market where you're like, I want this special piece of hardware that is used for recording old video game consoles, but like it's a limited supply and they all stopped being made X number of years ago. Oof. So the price goes up $100 every year that I wait before I buy it.
I'm excited. Apparently Cyberpunk is coming to PS5.
Wow.
Just in time to be super buggy there.
Yeah.
Wait, it wasn't on PS5 already?
I mean, technically everything on PS4 is on PS5, I think.
Oh, yeah.
But a PS5 version and made for it or something, I guess.
So they can charge it for it again because
Back for Blood, which
they screwed up so bad.
That is the nicest part of the PS5, though. It's just the fact that you can just put your PS4 away. Because I sure as fuck can't put my PS3 away. I keep having to use it every few months, but my PS4,
it's a weird console.
Throw it in the garbage.
The PS3 is a weird console. It cannot be emulated easily.
Fuck ups. They fucked it up.
It wasn't a good decision. No, I mean there's a reason why the 360 sold so much more in the West specifically.
A lot of games were better on it. Yeah.
On the PS3?
On the 360.
Oh yeah.
I think the PS3 was supposed to be technically more powerful, but like something was fucky about it.
It was difficult to program for, basically.
Bayonetta barely even worked.
Wow. I've never played a Bayonetta game. I've only watched GIFs online.
It's notorious for having being shitty on PS3.
Oof. All the strands of hair.
Something was up with that.
They had one launch game that I remember that people were all hyped about. Obviously, I never played it because I didn't have a PS3. It was one where one of the cores for the console was dedicated to control the braid of the main protagonist because she had this long braid. Heavenly Sword, that's the one, yeah. They made it like a big hurrah about, oh, this is only possible on this console because the braid is too complicated. We don't have the technology, but now we do. We have a single one of the cores, the dream. They always come up with the most pompous self-congratulatory names. It's the creation engine or whatever. I don't remember what the name of the it's a freaking CPU. It's a computer. It's a freaking computer. Don't call it weird names. It was a Jaguar AMD thing or whatever.
Jaguar.
Yeah, that was the platform name.
What?
I think
the Jaguar.
The PS4 is the Jaguar. Yeah, I don't remember what the PS3 was.
Jaguar an actual console?
No,
Jaguar is a cat.
Jaguar is one of the name of the platforms for AMD.
Yeah, the Atari Jaguar.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, the Atari Jaguar. Yeah. You know,
copyright infringement. Someone needs to get on.
You know about these names, right? Like Ice Lake or Bulldozer or things like that. You know these names that
you talking about, like makers, the code names?
Yeah, the code names. They use them in
like N64. The GameCube was Dolphin.
Like no, I'm talking for the CPUs. For like Intel CPU, the new architecture is called. It's some place.
So one of the things I didn't look into when I was building my computer was the fact that your computer will come with like branding, and that's the first thing you see every time you turn on your computer is the dumb branding of whatever company made whatever part, and you're like, oh,
you can change that.
Yeah,
gross.
It's usually the motherboard.
Mine's
so
like
motherboard
tough gaming, and it's spelled TUF, and I'm like, I hate this.
Oh,
It's a shield with a T on it. I'm like, this is terrible branding. Your company sucks.
Oh wait, before Windows starts up, yeah, that's sometimes
that's your motherboard. You can go into your.
Sometimes you can't. Asus is particularly finicky about that.
I have a Tough. Tough lets you get rid of it. You can skip the.
They know you don't want it. Their cringe logo.
Because so that only exists so it gives you a brief second to try and get into the BIOS. Mm-hmm. But if you're someone who never does it, then you can just get past that. Or if you know what your BIOS key is at all times, you can just press it right as you turn it on.
Yeah,
and you'll be fine.
Always delete.
Yeah,
just go delete.
And that basically, that window, that little branding just gives you like enough time for a person to be like, how do you BIOS? How do you get in? What is this? But if
you're saying BIOS, but a lot of people have no idea what it is. There's like, what? There's a what in my computer?
And if you don't know what that
There's
is,
two
you
wolves
don't need
inside
that
of
branding.
your computer.
Yeah, if you don't know
You
exactly.
can only find them if you press F10.
No, F12. F12 is hacking. Calls it.
F12 is
In your browser.
hacking.
Yeah.
There are two wolves inside of you. One is hacking and one is hacking.
Hacking
One is
back
hacking
and forth
because he's-
forever.
One is hacking because he's a computer nerd. The other one is hacking because he ate a bone. English is fun. My puns.
Yeah, I
are
don't
not.
know how.
There's two wolves inside of you. They're both into crypto. I'm sorry. It's too late to operate.
Yeah, but what crypto?
And they like
what
Elon
NFTs
Musk.
do they own?
Crypto, the Superman's dog.
Oh god.
Wait,
Oh man,
Superman has a dog?
There were signs
Wait,
all along.
are you saying that both of my wolves inside of me are furries?
Oh my
No.
god, what a fucking twist. Who could have guessed that
Wait,
the wolves
I didn't know
were...
Superman had a dog.
Yeah, it's got a dog named Crypto, named after Kryptonite or Krypton.
Just a weird thing. Also,
That's kind of cute. I like that.
Yeah, he wears a little cape.
Oh, I didn't know
I
any
think
of
it's,
this.
I think it's a white dog wearing the Superman costume, basically.
yeah, it's a white dog.
Yeah. No, things are good. I think there's a bat dog too. Comics are
There's a
goofy.
bat dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whenever they want to
There's
take them,
also- so-
whenever they want to be like serious and edgy, they just kind of retcon and
Kill the
forget
dog.
all of the interesting things in there. Like how all of the movies don't have Robin.
Yeah, because his pants are weird. That's why.
There's
a-
green.
Sometimes he's real weird. Sometimes it's just a tiny speedo with like 80% bulge, and I'm like, why was it drawn that way?
Because they liked young boys.
That was just
Like,
choices were made.
That's.
I mean, it's a deliberate choice. You don't accidentally draw a boy wearing like a speedo with a bulge. It's not an accident.
Look, it's a
the,
perfectly normal anatomical thing for a young boy to have.
Yeah, for a bunch of fucking creepos, like don't do that. No one
It does
forced you
feel
with a
weird
gun.
where you're like, why did they draw him doing like a Spider-Man swing, but not with but he's wearing his weird speedo.
No one forced them with a gun to their head to draw Robin like that. No one made his costume look like that. Batman's costume looks way prudish, but somehow Robin's just like,
There's not a lot of Batman beach episodes.
No, there's not. So I don't really. Anyways,
Well, but Batman is a
beside
very
the
horny
point.
comic. Like, there's a lot of horniness there.
Yeah, but not to the kids.
No. Well, the girls
But
don't get
Batman
treated the same
doesn't.
way.
But Batman doesn't go down because heroes don't go down.
He does, though.
Only,
they don't go down.
only villains go down on women, apparently.
If heroes go down,
Yes,
then who's going
Barbara.
to be the hero?
Yeah,
Which
Batman
is
like marries.
It's why
doesn't
Harley Quinn's a
marry-
better character.
Also, to answer your question, so in the Silver Age of comics, there were multiple super pets. There was Crypto. There was Streely. Streely was the cat. So the super cat.
Streely?
Yeah.
Streely can't-
sorry,
the cat
Streak-
can't have a good name.
Streaky. Streaky.
Oh, Streaky is even worse.
Streaky the cat?
There's Beppo the monkey, and Comet the horse. So yeah, there's multiple Superman pets there. So
At least-
Comet and Crypto are white. Beppo is obviously just a monkey wearing an outfit. And Streaky the cat is orange for some reason. I don't know why they didn't just make the Streaky also white. It's kind of weird, but yeah. So there you go. There's also
I'm
a
kind of
couple
a-
other ones. There's because Batman also had some pets. So he had a bat cow. He also had a monkey, a detective chimp.
Detective Chimp?
Yeah,
Bat
there's-
chip,
there-
chimp,
look,
monk, bat
Silver
monk.
Age comics were just like
I'm kind
not
of
good.
It's kind of a shame that the
Or they were
Comet pet-
literally better than anything's made sense.
If I asked you what pet it was that was named Comet, you would think it's a pet rock, right?
A pet rock?
Hey, it's a
I would-
comet.
I would
Right.
think Comet was dog's name.
Yeah, I suppose.
They should call his corral the Comet section.
Wow.
Comments. That wouldn't translate in the Silver Age.
No, it wouldn't. The entire concept of that didn't exist yet.
Comet the super what a fucking
Comet the Super.
insane. What an insane thing to make. Because like Superman doesn't need to ride a horse; he can fly. So like, what is the value of a horse except for I guess the fact that a horse can like one shot anybody with its kick without being.
Does the horse also fly? I assume the horse also flies.
Yes, so the horse also flies. It looks like the horse. So let me look at the lore here. It looks.
Why
like
would it also fly? It's a pet. It's not a sibling.
The horse seems to be particularly for Supergirl. It's her pet horse.
She's a horse girl.
Let's see.
Wait, Supergirl, is she also a pet?
No, she's a horse girl, as in like she likes horses.
Oh my
it's a
god,
trope.
this is worse than I thought. Wait a second.
Who is Supergirl? I know there's a TV series, but who is she? I thought she was like.
Supergirl is Clark's sister.
Oh,
there isn't a there isn't a Superwoman, is there?
Probably.
I think there is a Batwoman and a Batgirl, and they're different people. But I don't think I think Supergirl is a separate character.
I don't really. Okay, hold on. I need to find out a little bit more.
One of the funniest. What's really funny to me is that they made the show Supergirl, and it was like, the whole point of that kind of thing is to be like, we're not going to have the star character. Like Gotham doesn't have Batman, Supergirl doesn't have Superman, Mandalorian doesn't have Boba Fett, and then all three of them buckled on those things.
Oh,
all three of them eventually gave up and included the thing that that wasn't supposed to be there. Like like the Superman is in Supergirl. I think I've heard he's a better Superman than the one that in the movies, so that's nice. I mean, Flash is a better Flash than the one in the movies.
I mean, the one in the movie sucks. So
the Flash show is the best thing in the DC universe, DC cinematic universe, or whatever.
For some reason,
until the Harley Quinn movie happened.
For some reason, I thought it was just another story of in a different world. It's just called Supergirl, and it was like Superman,
like it's
but
just
a girl.
gender bent Superman.
Yeah, I thought
they coexist.
They coexist, like a lot of superheroes do.
Yeah, but it's one of many superheroes where the female one exists just to be, a female version of the main one, but they're not a different universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Comet the Super Horse, by the way, has pretty good powers. Flight, super strength, super speed, and telepathy. It is a sentient horse, so it is aware of itself, and it is that it is a horse.
So existential dread is also a superpower.
Whenever a comet passes through the solar system he is currently residing in, he turns into a man.
Wait, it's not where I thought that was going.
And not only that.
Wait, any comet?
Any comet. So
I don't think they knew how many comets are around when they wrote that.
Well, then this horse is a man a lot.
He has to explain his whole why it's called a super horse constantly, because he's never a horse.
That's why he's named Comet, because anytime a comet shows up is that he becomes a man. Not only that, when he is a man, he technically was dating Supergirl, which is kind of weird.
Oh no, she's really a horse girl.
Yeah, that's a really deep horse girl lore. So she apparently not only did she date him when he's in man form, I guess, but also when he goes back into horse form, she just rides him, which is like I don't really know this. Silver Age comics were not okay.
Perfect,
but
that's distressing.
But as the comet is
partly because it has all these weird implications to him when he's in horse form too, where it's like that's a sentient horse, like that's a human intelligence horse. That makes it way weirder in so many ways.
Which means he can talk to you. He can say like, "Hey, that kind of hurts. Could you not kick me in the side?"
He's just an anamorph. He's just Tobias. He's stuck in Red Hawk form. Red-tailed Hawk form.
So hear me out. When the comet is leaving the solar system, as comets do, he turns into a centaur in his transition back into his horse form.
How long is the leaving stage? How many comets do they think are in the solar system? Because I'm pretty sure they're always there.
I'm looking at a list, and we currently have identified around 35.
Does it have to be maybe it has to be a kryptonite comet?
As far as I can see in the powers and abilities section of this wiki, it just says a comet. There is no distinctive comet. He is also not from Krypton, so he is unaffected by kryptonite and red suns. He is
he's unrelatedly super.
He is only a super horse in the fact that a super person rides him. That's why he's a super horse.
Well, I mean, he also presumably flies and transforms into a man.
Well, he does.
Like
I mean,
Batmobile.
he is a pretty super horse, but he's not
like a Batmobile.
He's not part of the super family. He is only
he's
by
not.
proxy.
He's not from Krypton. He doesn't wear
correct.
the thing. He doesn't wear the thing that's not an S.
He does wear a
I hate
cape.
that part. That's so stupid.
Why did they feel the need?
Comet
It's
does
not
wear
an
a
S, it
Superman
means
cape.
hope. Save Martha.
But, his centaur form, by the way, is quite astonishing.
I'm
imagine
it is
four
lungs
and two
It
hearts.
is the stuff of nightmares.
Oh my god, that's fetish stuff.
I am not comfortable.
That's the kind of
with
stuff
the
I see when I keep scrolling on image searches.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. That is really questionable. It's
Why is he so
interesting.
jacked? How does he work out as a human?
Have you seen
Does
a
he have
horse?
time?
Oh, the human part.
Yeah,
Yes,
does he have
is also
time to
pretty
work
jacked.
out as human? Like, why is he
No,
so
he's just
jacked?
strong as a horse.
Granted, it's superhero comics. Every scientist is jacked.
Wait a second. This is okay. Wow, this is a rabbit hole I wasn't prepared to dive into. This is getting
Oh, there's a
more
rabbit
terrifying.
too?
So
Super rabbit?
apparently Beppo the super monkey is from Krypton. He is a kryptonite, or he's a Krypton monkey, which implies
What
that
do they
like
have I mean, I guess-
Kryptonians evolved from monkeys,
I
which is
guess-
a really terrifying thing to
I
think
guess
about.
that makes
Like,
sense.
Does
Yeah.
it?
I mean, it makes it makes sense when you're already accepting a universe where the Kryptons look like humans, which was weird.
I guess.
So it's like I guess they came from monkeys in the exact same
Well,
trajectory. That's the
The
implication.
thing is,
How did they get there?
Humans didn't come from.
Well, it's like a
monkeys,
Mars
came from
thing.
apes.
We're all originally Kryptonians.
Oh,
It's not
we
monkeys,
just
it's
lost our
apes.
ability. I guess.
Yeah, but no one cares,
Um,
Krill.
I think.
Gonna be honest, it's just funnier to call. It's funner to call Winston a monkey than an ape. Ape is not a fun word. Monkey's a very fun word.
Doesn't Winston
So,
complain that he says
Fucking
he's not a monkey?
checkmate. He has like a bark line
Does-
about it, sure, but also it's
Yeah.
funny. So
Don't call him a name that he doesn't like. Why?
Because he's a monkey.
because
You can't
monkey's
find
a
that.
funny word.
It is. That's
Monkey
true.
eat the
That's
peanut
why-
butter. He's adorable. I love Winston.
That's why people use it as a password. Even
And
though
Either
him,
way,
him saying "Don't call me a
uh,
monkey" is like when someone's like "Don't call me cute," and then they stuck their thumb.
Also, apparently, so
Mm.
Beppo is also the companion for Superboy, which is the child of Superman.
When do you age out of that name and become
Beppo?
Superman
Or-
2?
Oh, yeah, I think Superboy just becomes like.
Like you
Super
really are
Superboy.
like your name implies you're doomed to die before you reach adulthood.
I was
Maybe.
once a Superboy.
Either that
like
or you're
you.
one of Batman's 17 Robins that'll become a different hero eventually, like Nightwing.
Alternatively, maybe he just maybe like the way to become a Superman is to kill the previous Superman. So like you have to.
There
usurp
can only
your
be
father.
one.
Yeah, you have to like kill Superman. To
You're gonna be a
become Superman.
65-year-old Superboy because you can't bring yourself to kill your father, Invincible style.
Mm.
I-
Do you guys
I
watch
don't-
Invincible? I watched Invincible. That was a good time. I had fun with that.
I have not seen Invincible yet. I've
No.
been busy watching
And then I
a
got
lot of other
I
stuff.
also got a fascination spiral a little bit with the I just kind of was obsessed over the fact that I found out there's like a Wolfman in Invincible that's just called Wolfman, which is the most bare like that's like the most like base level thought you would have, and then they didn't elaborate on it at all. He's just Wolfman. I'm like, really? And I'm like,
Good for him.
because I looked at a thing that was like an article that was like the best characters that aren't in the Invincible show yet, and it's talking about like we're probably gonna see more of Battle Beast later and stuff like that, and then it's like here's Wolfman, and I'm like, wait, really? It's just called Wolfman? Like it must be like a throwaway character that shows up for 5 minutes. No. creator of Walking Dead and Invincible, Robert Kirkman also co-wrote the entirety of Wolfman, which has an entire compendium the size of one of the Walking Dead compendiums it is over. So but like Wolfman ran for 1/4 as long as Walking Dead as a standalone comic. And get this, spoilers for Wolfman, but like it is like the most basic storytelling I've ever seen. It's everything that you write about when you're making fun of comics, except for the retcons. There's not like a bunch of retcons and stuff, but it's like, but it's the most base level entry of like, there's a guy, he gets bitten by a wolf, so now he turns into Wolfman at night, like that basic thing. There's a little bit of werewolf lore where once a month he goes berserk, so he has to like lock himself up in like a chamber, or he'll like go kill people. Because he's like uncontrollable during the full moon. But like he meets up with a vampire that's training him, but actually the vampire has nefarious goals. Who could have guessed? And the vampire ends up killing his wife, so his wife gets fridged as being the primary motivator of the entire storyline. And so the rest of the thing is just him trying to get revenge on this one vampire, while also like accidentally becoming the leader of all of the wolves. Like he turns out the wolf that bit him wasn't just any werewolf, it was like the original werewolf. So like, and he's been alive for so long that he's just exhausted, and he wants a wolf to defeat him Highlander style, so that he can become the new leader of all of the werewolves. And of course of course the protagonist is also like a philanthropist, billionaire, playboy dude with like infinite good, like he has no flaws basically. Like he's like this mythical billionaire that is like a benefit to all of humanity and only does nice things. And like when he met one of his oldest friends is the guy that was like, whose business was suffering because he was in competition with our amazing protagonist. So not only did the protagonist buy the business, but he like set the guy up for life. And then when the guy was retiring but didn't know what to do with his life, because he was just like, I don't know what to do, I don't have like, I think his wife had died or something, they hire him on as like a family member, sort of like caretaker butler person to help them raise their kids, but mostly kind of just hang out because they're best friends and so on. And it's like they're like trying to make the most infinitely sympathetic character. It's like there's constantly like, every time there's a thing like, is Wolfman actually a morally gray anti-hero, which is like what the whole world thinks he is, except for the people reading the comic that see what actually happens. But like, no, there's always like a fucking Sherlock Holmes like BBC anti-twist going on, where actually no, the bad thing everyone thinks he didn't do. Like he's basically has a spotless record and no crimes. He's also the pure blood ultimate Aryan airwolf, super wolf, and he's a billionaire guy with a spotless record and zero flaws. And I'm like, I can't believe this. I kept reading it, I'm like, I'm waiting for the twist, I'm waiting for the reveal of like anything of texture happening, because like it's from Invincible. Like it's from Invincible. The whole point is to take this really well-worn tropes involving like Superman type stuff and like go crazy with it and like do your own unique thing. And that's why people like Invincible so much. And I could not get over the fact that the same people that in many ways subverted stuff when he made both Superman and Invincible, which were running, not Superman, when we made Walking Dead and Invincible, which both ran concurrently for like 15 years. He was doing both the whole time. I didn't know this the whole time. Simultaneously, they had this fucking Wolfman comic that was just like a fucking template. It was just, they just like fucking like it's like when somebody has a video editing, when someone's doing video editing in Movie Maker, and you just get a white text on a blue background. Like that's what this was for superhero comics. It was just all of the placeholder elements of a skeleton of a story left unaltered. And the entire reason I got fixated on the first place was because the art was also just a mess, where it's like it's stylized in kind of a fun way, but I could not get over the fact that if you look up Wolfman, every single page you find of Wolfman and also the super wolf that is like the tribal dude that he got his powers from in the first place, you're like, these are cats, right? These are cats. None of these are
Oh, yeah,
wolves.
I saw that picture.
Not a single
Yeah.
character in this entire comic looks like a wolf at any point, unless you look at the variant covers made by other people, which is embarrassing. Like whenever there's, because comics have so many variant covers where other people draw the covers, and all of those look like wolves, but the actual character never looks like a wolf, like ever in the entire run of
I'm
the
looking
comic.
at that.
It's astonishing, and it's only made more noticeable by the fact that they have a character called Battle Beast, which is a white like tiger man in Invincible, and he looks the same as Wolfman. And it's like I had tweets about this when I was reading it, where I'm like, please tell me which one of these characters is a wolf, and I showed pictures of Battle Beast, and I showed pictures of the whatever the super wolf was called, and then of Wolfman, and it's like okay, it's like which of these are wolves and which of these are cats, and people were like, is this a trick question?
Yeah, they're absolutely cats. They're short nosed. The
They
nose
fight
has a
with
very
their claws, a thing wolves
that
love
too,
to do.
oh my god. It
I'm
is
so
true.
confused. I'm like, wolves don't fight with their claws.
I
They're
think
not
that
even sharp.
I think the difficulty from the face specifically comes from just, a werewolf is a mixture of a wolf and a man, but there's a halfway point in between those two things that it kind of looks like a cat,
Oh
So
right, and what's really fucking irritating is that like he goes into a frenzy every month and will like murder anybody, but the vampire didn't warn him about that the first time, but then after the first time he's like, oh, I better do something about this or whatever. Oh wait, no, it was his recovery. It was that he was like horribly maimed by what they thought was a bear in the first place, and then he recovered instantly overnight, but it was because overnight he had transformed into a werewolf and gone off and killed somebody. In the last like quarter of the comic, out of nowhere, there's another werewolf that just wears a Speedo running around, and like some were like strapped on like combat like stuff like ammo belts and like a knife holster kind of stuff, or it's like I think it was like boxer briefs or something, but like he's like a shirtless wolf just comes in and he like pretends to attack him, but actually is delivering a secret message to him while he's undercover, and then he like lets himself be defeated and falls off a cliff, and he's like, you saved my life, thank you. It's like, what the fuck was that deal? And they just don't answer the question of what the deal was with that for like several more issues. But then eventually they're like, hey, it's the old man he killed in the one time he transformed before he knew about it. Actually, the guy was dying of terminal illness, and like him becoming a werewolf saved his life, and he didn't actually die because he's a werewolf now, so he survived the attack. So the one dark tinge they introduced at the beginning of the narrative gets thrown out in the fucking garbage by the end of the thing. It was like the one interest. Like, I wonder if they're ever gonna deal with the fact that he probably killed somebody, and nope, he didn't. They unkilled that character. Like, motherfucker.
Wow.
That one random gardener he attacks in a throwaway moment of the story then becomes like his like fucking like it's basically his Robin down to like being dressed less.
What?
Dressed less? Yeah, because Robin is dressed less.
Yeah, but why is he dressed less?
I think he's just really psyched. He used to be in special forces apparently back in the day, and was dying of a terminal illness. And so now that he's like a jacked wolf, he's just running around in boxer briefs and fighting people. He's just having a good time, I guess.
All right,
Having a good time.
It's like why would I wear a shirt? I look like this.
That's why the Horseman was like that.
It's like he's probably like 70 before that, so he's probably pretty jazzed to be jacked. He's a jazzed jackrabbit.
I don't like any of this.
I mean, that was once I saw the trajectory, I had to finish the sentence.
Absolutely.
Brought to
we
you by
expected
Cliff
you.
Blazinski. So that was Wolfman. I read all of it.
Oh
Right.
no, you did. That's why
I
you
read
read this much.
Yeah, no, I read all of it. That's how I know how it ends and everything. And I'm like, what the
Oh
fuck?
no.
I'm so baffled by the choice to make just this morally unambiguous character that's just a protagonist with zero flaws. At least it's definitely like from their perspective zero flaws, and every piece of texture gets sanded off by the end and gets retconned essentially. And also they can't draw wolves. So it was just really funny.
Wow.
But anyway,
Yeah,
Invincible is pretty fun though. That's why I was so baffled by Wolfman being that.
I think the problem with a wolf man or a werewolf is that, like, if you really want to have the face or the head of a wolf or similar to a wolf, it just changes the posture a lot. And even if you want to use your claws, like, because the head of a wolf just is a dog's head is so much bigger in relation to its body than a cat's head is, or a person's head.
Like with our Wilder Myth character and his weird doofy head that's like the size of his torso.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's just so much behind the nape that it's just, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a question like, do you just like fucking pop a wolf head on top of like the ball joint or whatever that's on the top of a human neck, or do you like have like an entire like wolf posture on the top half or something? Like where do you how do you figure out how to draw that? That's part of the fun of making those kinds of characters, is figuring out how you want them to look and work and all that. And so it's disappointing when it's like it's just human shaped, or it's just cat ears, or I can't draw a wolf, but I tried anyway for like a decade.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't understand why he looks like that.
Maybe it's just an artistic choice. He's just like, look, this is what I
don't
want
like
my wolf
it.
to
I don't
look
like their choice.
There's
I mean, obviously, I get that, Keith.
There's so many ways of drawing just a person with a dog's head.
Yeah,
it's not that difficult. But
you could easily, if I didn't already know, you could trick me into thinking it was like Rothgar fan art from Final Fantasy 14. That's how that's how far off it is from looking like a wolf.
Yeah, it does. It is pretty flat. It's got that flat face.
It's fascinating. I'm like, I don't know how you did that. I don't know how you fucked up that bad. But he does a lot of like clutching bloody corpses while yelling no in agony as various family members and friends die to motivate him.
As one does, yes.
To motivate him.
Otherwise,
I mean,
it just doesn't. Yeah.
That's what that kind of. That's what that storytelling is.
Someone please motivate me. Kill a family member. Anything.
I was kind of wondering. I don't know. Maybe it was because I don't read comics very much. I was vaguely under the impression that people might have gotten past fridging wives, but nope.
Nope.
Straight in the fridge.
Still good. Still a very useful, good.
It was right after they gave her texture. I'm like, is she cheating on him? What's going on? Oh, are they going to do something with this character? And she's dead. Right in the fridge. No. Also, right, and the character, the big thing there is that the sister, the daughter walks in while he's clutching the bloody corpse of the wife that got murdered by the vampire. So then she hates him now, and she's gonna go get the training to basically become Elektra to go kill her dad. She's gonna be a werewolf hunter, and she's being trained by the vampire that killed the mom in the first place, because she thinks that the dad did.
She didn't ask the dad. She didn't ask, like, hey dad, did you just kill mom? It's fucked up. And he's just
I mean,
what?
obviously he says it's no, what it looks like, because the dialogue writes itself at this point.
Yeah.
Whatever you think they might have said, that's what they said in all of these scenes.
Maybe this is like their first comic. I was
so fascinated by that comic. It's Robert Kirkman and I think one other guy. I think maybe secretly the Robert Kirkman didn't really work on it. I'm thinking maybe secretly the other guy worked on it mostly. Like it came out. I mean, Invincible and Walking Dead were already running, and then Wolfman became a spin-off series to Invincible. And I think they might have just slapped Robert Kirkman's name on it, because it's like, say what you want about Invincible and Walking Dead, there was just bizarrely nothing to this Wolfman comic.
I don't know, man. It says the series was created and written by Kirkman.
Jesus. I don't understand how that could happen.
Maybe because he wasn't the one who actually wrote the other stuff.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I wonder, when I see characters like that, people like that, I always wonder, like, what the fuck is their life like? Like, what's their schedule like? How's that any of it work? If you think about it, Robert Kirkman, he was running 3 bi-weekly comics at the same time, I think, while also being like a consultant constantly and sometimes writer on the Walking Dead shows, of which there are now 4.
Well,
Maybe?
I imagine not
There's going to
having
be a
do the
fourth one.
art-
They've announced a fourth one. There's Walking Dead, there's Fear the Walking Dead, there's Beyond the Walking Dead, which I've never watched because it's only on AMC Plus. And then after being on the show for fucking 12 years, Daryl and Carol are still going to have a spin-off show later. My God.
When did
The only thing
Okay,
stopping me from making an obsessive, irritating, long video about Walking Dead is just how intimidating it is to talk about anything that long. Talking about a 12-season show and like a comic that
You need to
ran
make it into multiple videos.
I think the comic's like 150 issues. No, 200-ish? I don't know. 4
Make it
compendiums.
into
I have
multiple
I have
videos.
all the compendiums.
It's weirdly impressive because, like, yeah, it looks like Wolfman started in like 2007, and so that's like, yeah, like Walking Dead started in 2003, and Invincible started in 2003. So he's had a lot of time here. It's not like this is his
I don't
first
understand
rodeo.
why that comic's so
Like,
bad.
It's crazy. I guess maybe he literally didn't have time and he just phoned it in. Maybe someone like, because it looks like this was all when he's his Image Comics publishing, which is the only thing he seems to have been published. Jesus Christ, like barely had any other publishers. I don't know. Maybe it was something like someone was like, "Look, you got to pump this out in X amount of time. We'll pay you this much." And he's like, "All right."
He just gave out the most skeletal, bare bones like set up for just this one other guy to just draw. Just keep my friend employed.
Yeah,
maybe it's
like, why
maybe
not?
it is nepotism. Maybe he just had a friend that he wanted to have a job, so he like sketched out baby's first superhero plot and said, "Oh, draw this for like 6 years."
Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long
see
time.
that.
That's what's nuts about these kind of storylines. That's why it's so befuddling to have so little texture in such a long story. Is you put so much of yourself into this kind of thing for so long. Like writing a serialized comic for that long is such an undertaking that that's why it's so hard for me to accept when there's like nothing to it.
Oh, I mean, you don't have to put yourself into it, clearly, but that is truly impressive to think about that it's somehow turned out that way.
It's I wonder if the
And like that, and that's not even like I would get it if there wasn't so many other examples in that time to look at. You know, again, it's not as if this came out in a time where no one had written any better Wolfman comics. Like it's so weird.
but the thing is, like, if you have a publisher contract, like, you're not gonna not do it. Like the publisher says, "Oh yeah, sure, continue." You're not gonna be like, "Oh, I don't have any ideas what I'm doing."
Sometimes people just have a comfy gig. It's like Paul W.S. Anderson. It's like, I don't know, I just every year I go out, film a movie with my wife, and it gets a 30% of Rotten Tomatoes, and like I'm still getting paid, so I guess who gives a shit?
Yeah, you do like the Adam Sandler thing, which is like, all right, boys, pick a place
yeah.
on the map where we're vacationing. And
Yeah,
then you just
where other
make a
movies are an
movie about
excuse
it.
to go on a vacation somewhere, and then they get paid to go
Yeah.
there, and they just have to like film a shitty improv comedy thing, and that's easy. They're all SNL actors. Improving some garbage on the fly is like their whole career up to that point. They were born in the unfunny improv, molded by it.
Born in garbage, molded by
Yeah.
garbage.
God, SNL hurts to watch.
I don't think it's ever not hurt to watch.
Yeah, I don't think it was ever good. I think it's
I
had
can't remember a
individual
time.
good skits that people will like and remember, but like as a whole, it's just a bad show that's long. It's a long bad show, so it's so much bad.
It's a long as in the one episode, or because it's lasted too long?
Because it's like an hour or whatever. Like it's not a 20-minute show.
Oh.
It's a full like hour-long show that's all bad all the way through, basically. And you're like, this is too long. Why is this so long?
Please, please stop. What are you doing? Don't continue.
I have the only time I've ever heard of SNL is when there's one particularly bad
Yeah, Elon
famous
Musk
person
as
that shouldn't be there.
Wario.
Yeah.
Oh God, what if
And then
that's
I don't
what if
watch
that's
any
true
of
of the
it
movie
either.
too? Chris Pratt as Mario and Elon Musk as Wario.
Oh no.
That would
Wait,
that
but
would
isn't
be-
SNL was just the beginning.
Chris Pratt actually a good actor?
Uh,
I don't know. What have I seen with him on?
I've never
Guardians of the
seen.
Galaxy.
I've never
and
seen him
Parks and
in.
Rec.
I've never seen him act in anything where you would have had to try really.
Oh.
Yeah, his
Isn't he
character
the one
is
in Martian?
always like, well,
I haven't
no,
even seen Parks and
he's
Rec.
not-
I just know him from Guardians of the Galaxy pretty much, where he's just a douchebag.
Mm.
He's just playing a
Yeah,
really
so,
douchey
like,
dude.
his
Mm.
general character he gets casted for is like dismissive, flippant white guy. Is like that's it. Is just that's
Yeah,
usually
I haven't
his
watched any of the
roles.
Jurassic new movies.
Same thing in Jurassic Park. That's the same character he plays. He's just an asshole who is in a position of some kind of power by kind of like circumstance. Like, oh no, the dinosaurs
he's the
escaped,
adorable
and-
misogynist.
Yeah, basically. That's like his prime character trait, which I think is like probably why the internet doesn't like him very much. He has like one note, and that isn't a good note. It's like someone pressing the off key on a piano, and you're like, Jesus, can you just like tune the damn thing? And you're like, nope, here it comes again. And you're like, all right, keep at it, I guess. Well, it's like I don't know how to describe his entire career is just like you said, he's just playing a shitty character. He's just playing a shitty non-effort guy. Like, I don't know. The Jurassic Park guy is like, wow, look at this piece of shit. Oh no, the dinosaurs escaped. Good thing we have this piece of shit who one of the dinosaurs responds to. If it wasn't for that, we would have literally no reason for this guy to be in this movie. Thank goodness. Like, what? What? That's your whole character? And it's like somehow he's still there in multiple movies because they keep bringing the dinosaur back. They have to bring the dinosaur with them or else the guy doesn't make sense. That's like the whole plot. And it's baffling. You're like, so Chris Pratt only exists because this dinosaur exists, and the dinosaur is only here because people keep needing it for some reason, and they just don't make a new one, which is like the whole premise of Jurassic Park, is that you could just keep making dinosaurs? All right, sure.
Didn't they explain at some point that the dinosaurs don't look like real dinosaurs because they have bird DNA in them or something?
No, they have frog DNA.
Frog DNA.
No, that's in the movie. It's not frog DNA.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. In
Yeah.
Jurassic Park, they retcon why they don't look like bird dinosaurs because it's like frog DNA.
Yeah.
And so the frog DNA fucks with like the bird DNA, I guess, and so it prevents feathers. I don't know. Whatever, man.
Did they retcon that?
I would
because
rather they
don't-
just lied and
Oh
just
my
said
God.
like, "This is what
They should
dinosaurs
just
in
say-
this universe look like." Look, who's gonna
No, they should
fucking
just say-
argue with them?
we were wrong about how dinosaurs looked like. This is how they look like, and put feathers on them like proper.
No.
dinosaurs.
You're not getting rid of iconic T-Rex and velociraptors.
You
Don't do
are.
that. That's a bad idea.
You are. That is so
You
cheap.
will not.
History.
you.
The real world can be as real as it wants to be. I do not want Jurassic Park to have feathered dinosaurs. That is not as terrifying. It would be
I
really
promise you,
stupid if like
in
the
100
fucking
years-
Cocoa Puffs bird was chasing after children. It would
If
look
there's
really
a Jurassic
dumb.
Park in 100 years, they will have feathers, and people will be laughing at people
I'm
in
saying
the
it's-
twi-
It would be stupid
That'd
if you
be
have a
some impressive
velociraptor.
keeping of media or whatever.
It's like
If
I'm
they
just saying,
remember
would be a
100-year-old
success
media.
on-
you have like
think, yeah.
velociraptors covered in bright little flowers, and they're just like and you'd be like, what is this? This is a fucking threat to you? Just punch it in the mouth. It's a stupid bird. Like get
The
out of here. Let's
Velociraptor
move
is
on.
the size of a chicken. They didn't even make the right size of the dinosaurs.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah,
Like,
he did pick what he did is he just liked the name better.
Oh,
So
right. It's
so
a different dinosaur.
he used a different dinosaur but called it a velociraptor. But it was supposed to be a real dinosaur, just not that one.
Mhm.
I
What is it?
think that was Spielberg, not Crichton.
That was Spielberg.
Mm.
I think I
What
don't
is the
remember-
real
I don't-
dinosaur that they made?
Something that starts with a D, I think. I don't know.
Because there's the terror bird that is kind of
Dionysosaur.
These
Likes to party.
Nutsosaurus Rex.
Likes to party.
the terror bird is an actual dinosaur, right?
The terror bird? The
Yeah.
bird of a terror
Terror
flock
bird.
together.
That's how I pronounce it, but I don't think it is. I
Oh,
think it's pronounced like
pterodactyl.
that. No, not Yeah, the pterodactyl is but
Talking about
there's one
Petrie?
in Ark Survival Evolved. That's the terror bird.
It's called the Bird of Terror.
I don't know though. I only hear people say it. I never read it because it's a dinosaur attacking me.
Are you
Could be
talking about the
bird?
Phorasaurus?
It's like the alternate
What
universe
the fuck
version of
is
the
that?
Bird of
Did you
Paradise.
sneeze when writing that?
But the
That
bird of
thing.
paradise. Yeah.
Phorasaurus.
Wow, that is a name.
Boris Hassiday.
It's literally like it's called the terror.
That's the
bird.
one. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one.
They're basically someone took an eagle, took its wings off, and made it like 4 times the size, and we're like, all right, done. Like,
Cool.
Yeah, they could
It's
have.
just-
That's
yeah, it's just
if
a
they wanted
dodo,
a cool
but
name.
eagle.
That's much better. The dodo.
Uh,
Yeah, a dodo but evil.
Yeah, I mean, it's
It's the
I,
don't.
it's still not
Yeah.
terrifying. That's the problem. It like velociraptors just innately look.
Maybe it's
awful
actually
because-
just a coward bird. That's why it's called the terror bird.
I don't know. Well, how is that not terrifying? Look at the
It's
size of that beak.
famously
And they don't
a-
have
a-
eyes.
It's a famously afraid bird.
but it doesn't have hands, and hands is what makes things scary. See, wings aren't scary. Like
What the fuck?
I'm not threatened by wings. What do you could close a door on wings. They can't do anything. But the scary part of Jurassic Park was when the velociraptors opened the door and you're like, "Oh fuck, they have hands." Oh shit. Like
wasn't very
that's
scary.
They have
That's
hands
super
and
scary.
murder. Yeah, no, you're
It looked-
you're 100% wrong. The scariest thing in
No.
that was no, Colonel's wrong.
Oh.
That fucking kitchen is the scariest thing in all of the Jurassic Park universe.
Yeah,
I never
that's
found the hands.
terrifying.
I never found the hands to be scary because it just looked like a mannequin.
No,
hands.
the
It's like a-
implication of dinosaurs having hands that work is scary because
Yeah.
all of our
No,
all of
that
our
fucked
defenses
me up as a
require
kid,
hands.
that entire kitchen.
Like,
I wasn't
yeah.
smart enough. I wasn't smart enough to process that.
or,
And like
or
when
the
it
gate,
when it
where they
attacks
had
like the
gate.
reflection of the kid and stuff, or like the part where
Yeah.
the she's trying to like keep the door closed as it's open. It's like fuck.
And like,
Oh yeah, that part
even-
was pretty. Yeah,
They're horrible.
Even the second Jurassic Park was terrifying because they had the little cages, but they flipped the levers on the cages and got out, and you're like, fuck, there's fucking dinosaur hands. Like, it doesn't work with the T-Rex. They
illegal.
got nothing. It's like, yeah, but this dumb bird wouldn't do shit. It'd walk to the gate and be like, and you'd be like, all right, enjoy your fucking cage, stupid dodo. Like, it's not gonna do much. But velociraptors are scary, man. They'll just open your front door and be like, knock, knock, forgot the lock. And you're like, oh, fuck. I guess we're dead.
I'm
And
just realizing that I
next
wasn't
they'll-
smart enough to process the implications.
Next, they'll have little dinosaur lockpicks.
Exactly.
He'll
Next, then they get
he'll just
tools.
pull out his kit.
See?
Yeah, they're smart. They're smart enough to use tools. So they're coming for you.
I don't like that.
Mhm.
Whereas birds are fine. They got wings, no thumbs. We're good here. We can win. We can win against any bird species, except for apparently emus. But I think that was a whole different beast.
Your bird is easy. Oh yeah, we lost the emu war,
Well, no,
or the
no,
Australians
excuse
did.
you. Australians did. We didn't lose a war to any
I mean,
animal.
humanity lost the emu war.
We Americans have lost war to inanimate objects, but never to animals.
Yeah.
But the what's it called? Birds are not a threat. Birds are never a threat. That's why I don't like dinosaurs being birds. I get that it's real, but I
Why
don't
is
like
this-
the implication.
I'm just thinking
I mean,
back.
the
Like
emus
I've
don't
listened to
have hands either.
I've listened to so many podcasts over the last like decade and a half or whatever.
Okay.
This is always a fucking theme. There's always the I could fight an animal guy. That's like a
Who's saying
mandatory cast member of every podcast.
Andrew didn't say that.
I will say it right now. I'll fight
Yeah.
any animal.
No, he's
I've
the
always-
I'll fight an
will
animal.
not.
He's the Bernie Burns. He's the I'll fight an animal guy.
I will not
how-
fight an animal
they-
or a bird.
any animal.
And like it just happened. I listened to like what is it? They talk Chuckle Sandwich had to fight an animal dude. I think Please Stop Talking had to fight an animal dude. Like there's always a fight an animal dude that'll fight an animal.
I'll
Don't
fight.
fight the animal. Fight
doesn't
the
matter
And
animal.
then, and then everyone's like, you understand how doughy and sad humans are. Animals will fuck you up,
Nope.
bro.
Nope. There's
I've
one
ran
thing
away from
animals,
kittens.
Animals do.
So-
What?
I've talked about this in the podcast, I think.
I've never met an animal that I felt personally I could not beat.
Never?
Never.
Any animal?
Never.
Are you assuming
Never.
tools?
Well, I mean,
I assume you can't square off
that
against a
is an
bear.
option,
I mean, you were like 100
well,
pounds.
yeah, I can't squat. I mean, like, look, I'm not gonna box a bear. That's not gonna. I have to use my brain here. I can't like. You can't put me in a ring with any animal. Like, this isn't like Final Smash. No items. Like, we're not gonna win a fight like that against any kind of animal. Humans are literally like well, we're medium tier. We can fight most animals.
In other words, you can't 1v1 fox.
I can 1v1 a fox. What are you talking about? Easy.
They're creative.
I don't know that you can. Foxes
and they scream like people.
That's fine.
They
that makes it easier.
I hate it. I hate the sound foxes make in the woods.
But like some animals are a little
not
harder.
the squeaks, the screams.
Like a wolf could.
They scream like
harder.
someone's currently being killed by a slasher.
Yeah, people get scared. They think there's like somebody being murdered.
Yeah, but it's just a random fox in their backyard. Their backyard that is the woods. Which is a pretty shitty backyard. That's pretty fucking scary. I don't like that.
That sounds awesome, actually. I would buy a fox just to bring it to someone's like remote home and just let it wild and just like make it scream. And someone's just like, oh my god, what is that?
I'm not sure that captive foxes do that.
I think he means he just wants to relocate a fox.
I'm just gonna take a fox
just
from the wild and throw it in someone's backyard. I'm not gonna hurt it.
Buy a big speaker and play like.
No.
It's probably cheaper.
Because there's audible differences between the sound of a real terrified fox and
he needs that all natural.
Yeah, because it's gonna run and scream at the same time. So it's got this like nice.
I mean, yeah,
effect
people wouldn't notice. People don't notice when they didn't plug their fucking HD cables in correctly.
Maybe. Either way,
yeah.
the point
you
remains.
You just have to prank a boomer specifically.
I would beat the shit out of this terror bird. There's no way that this thing would be a threat to me.
It's enormous. It's like 3 meters tall.
Okay. And I'm going to do, I don't know, I'll jump on its back and choke it to death. Like, what's it going to do?
It beaks you. It's like, it hurts and breaks faces bad.
Breaks faces.
Did you see the size of the thing? An emu is like half its size and it screws you up.
I've met emus and they are no threat to me. I've met
and
ostriches.
Ostriches, they gut you with their things.
Ostriches are only a threat if you run from them. But if you're standing with them already, no threat anymore. Now they're just dumb birds standing in front of you. When they're running at you, you feel defenseless because they're fast and they'll run you over and just keep going. That's scary. You do not want to get run over by a bird. But if it's already there with you,
or by anything for that matter.
Well, yeah, you don't want to get run over. But if it's already there standing next to you, that's it. It's over. What's it going to do? It can like try to claw you with its feet, I guess. But again, you've got feet. Step on its foot, slap it in the face. Done. Like,
I've got feet.
Yeah, you've got feet. And your feet are probably better at squishing their feet than their feet are squishing your face. Because you have more mobility than they do. So look at their dumb little look at their dumb knees. Their knees bend in a dumb way. Easy.
I hope everyone's enjoying the bird meta discussion.
Don't hurt the ostriches. Why are you hurting the ostriches?
Look at that face. That face would be perfect between two of my hands slapping in between. 1, 2.
Ostriches do have the least likable
bird face.
Everything.
Also, long neck creatures are just not advantageous to anything.
You say that. You think you can grab their neck and twist it or something? It's super strong for one, and they also like beak you with it. Like they go around the neck, and it's like
it's not about grabbing it. It's about like punching it. You punch in the throat. You just keep punching in the throat.
Oh, that's different. Yeah.
You're not gonna grab. What are you gonna strangle it? Like you're not gonna grab the thing and like that. You could do that to a goose. Like goose.
Yeah,
really
you can do that to a lot of animals.
But not an ostrich, like or a giraffe. Like they're kind of that. Their entire persona is around
these are
the muscle.
Ostriches are basically. Have you ever seen a turkey? Have you ever seen a turkey? Oh yeah, turkey fights
yes.
They're basically a big turkey. Turkeys are super dangerous.
Where I used to work, we had roaming packs of turkeys in the parking lot that would just chase smaller office workers around.
Yeah,
I encountered
it's really funny.
Multiple times.
I don't think it would be funny for the person running away.
I don't know.
I wouldn't mess with a
like
turkey.
geese and turkeys are two creatures that I have no idea how people just walk away from them in some kind of terror. They are literally of no threat, of no
The
consequence.
geese are less threat because geese just rely on spreading their wings and making a little racket, and so they can be intimidating. But
What
you're
is
just like
What do you think a turkey does?
the turkey goes. It's like the strategy of a chicken, but the big. The turkey doesn't the turkey like peck you?
I can peck my ankles all at once. I'm wearing pants. Like, what is it gonna do?
It goes through the pens. The chickens go through the pens.
No, I've had chickens. They don't go through the pants. They go through the hands.
Our chickens were
like-
wimpy.
No,
My
those
chickens.
chickens were not wimpy. I watched them brutally murder one of another. So they're
Okay,
pretty
that's
strong
fair.
chickens. The difference is
I
that
mean, I think
again,
most things can kill the things that they are.
well, yeah, but I'm saying their beaks aren't like they're not.
They can be
razors.
pretty.
They're not like
they
I
can
don't
be
know. They're not
pretty-
knives. They can be sharp, but again, I primarily find myself not in
Oh,
a
that's
position of
right.
like I'm not wearing shorts. Like if I was
I
wearing shorts, I
remember-
might be a little hesitant. I might need to like crush it before it crushes me. But
So I haven't dealt with chickens in a long while, but I remember when I was a kid, my grandmother had chickens, and I remember they would peck through the clothes, like the jeans and whatnot. But I think I know why. My grandmother used to cut the beaks of the chickens, and she said specifically that it was because they would eat their eggs a lot. And so, don't eat your eggs. So give the eggs because I like
Oh.
omelets.
yeah,
And so she would cut the beaks at the top, like the very tip of the beak. But one thing I remember seeing chickens do is they would actually sharpen their beaks in the stone. So
Yes.
the coop that they were in, it had like a base layer of stone, and then the wire fence above that. And they would just sharpen their beaks in the stone. They were like like a knife. So they do that. Chickens are mean.
yeah.
They'll peck you.
I'm not saying that they're not like aggressive creatures, but
Yeah.
I'm saying that they're not a threat.
In numbers,
You just gotta,
maybe.
you just gotta,
Or
just
if
gotta
you're
be.
a baby.
It's like a fighting game. You got to know what kind of moveset they have and be ready to counter it when they try doing something. Like I've had chickens, and chickens will try to peck you if you got something. But if you know they're gonna try to peck you, you just slap it in the face before it pecks you, and it's kind of like stunned. It's like, oh shit,
Yeah,
fuck,
it gets
I wasn't
all
ready for
stunned.
that. Like.
Yeah.
Turkeys are the same way. If you walk up to a turkey and turkey looks at you, you slap it in the face. It's like, oh shit, oh fuck, I wasn't ready for that. Like a turkey, like most birds aren't ready to be confronted by a person that's unless it's an overly aggressive way. Like if you start chasing after it, then it's like, oh, I gotta square up. But if you walk by a turkey and you just slap it in the face, it's like, oh shit, oh god, like it's not ready for that. Animals don't know the concept of like, what's it called?
Fair fight, or I suppose
Not a fair fight. The
Pocket sand.
No, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to think of the
non-lethal aggression.
no, before you attack someone without them, like with no provocation.
Like sucker
Oh,
punch, surprise attack.
Yeah, animals have no concept of sucker punching. So to them, if you're not you're actively hostile, if you're not actively hostile towards them, they're just kind of like, all right, it's a person. So the moment you punch them, like, what the fuck? Oh my god, I wasn't ready to go. Like I didn't know we were go time.
We've reached the stage of this where Andrew's con involves like social engineering the animal.
Every animal's gotta be socially engineered. Where are why
Except
do I have my-
emus. Emus don't need that. They'll come for you.
Well, emus and ostriches will just kind of attack on sight if they don't like you or like where you are or like being alive. They kind of just are aggressive in general. Emus are
Yeah.
fine. They'll be mad at you if you don't have food, but I don't know. I've never met an emu who was like a threat. They just kind of walk around and are like, hey, how's it going? You got food? No, fuck off then. And they just leave and you're like, all right, well, I'm sorry I bothered you.
By not
Ostriches-
giving you food.
Yeah, ostriches will run at you. So ostriches will run at the cage. Like if you're standing at, that's why in the zoo they always have these big gaps between the fence and the ostrich. It's like they'll run at the gate to try to like scare you, which is funny because there's a gate and you know how a gate works, and I'm assuming they know how a gate works. So this is like a bad game of chicken, but they'll just like
The thing
they'll run at
about
the gate. I'm
fighting
like,
emus and so on is that thankfully they'll never have hands.
That's
You're
the
safe.
thing. If they had thumbs, this would be, I would have a way different attitude. I'd be like, I don't know, man. I don't think we'd fight. I think I'll just kind of hang out and watch them exist. They can just take over
Andrew's
the
not
planet.
fighting any movie raptors.
Monkeys
No, I
are a
will
serious
not.
problem in certain parts of the world, and they have opposable thumbs.
So monkeys are a little bit different. They're a harder. I will fight one, but I'm not confident. It's I am slightly confident, but only because of social engineering. Otherwise, a monkey would probably kick my ass.
You're more confident you could fight a bear than a monkey?
Yeah, absolutely. A monkey could use a gun.
So.
That is way more dangerous.
Monkeys
like,
are
a bear can't do
scary.
anything.
Hellboy.
It's like a monkey could.
Is that a monkey? He's got a gun.
Yeah, like a monkey could literally just show up with a knife, and I'm like, fuck, man, he brought a knife.
I mean,
fucked.
crabs can hold knives.
Well, yeah, but a crab can't actually articulate knife usage. It's just like holding it. It doesn't actually know how to use it.
They know. They learn.
A monkey can imitate and has the same mobility as me. So if it watched a movie of like, I don't know, it watched fucking John Wick, now it knows how to do some fucking CQC shit. I'm fucked. That's a smart ass monkey with a knife.
You're afraid of otters.
I don't know. Otters are kind of small. I think there's like
hands and they can use tools.
Yeah, but I think I could I think otters are like the size that you can.
Like your head.
Otters are super easy. Otters are super easy to defeat. All you have to do is show them. All you have to do is show them.
Colonel's joined in.
All you have to do is show them running water, and they're like, "Not on my watch," and they're off making a dam or a dick or whatever they do. And that's it.
They're Minecraft otters.
Yeah, it's just like, well, that's it.
They have all the exact same proclivities as a Minecraft player.
Yeah.
I can make like a dam or a dick or something. I don't know.
Is it the correct term, dick, or is it dyke?
Oh, a
Wait.
dyke. I thought you meant a penis.
The dyke?
It's probably a dyke.
I thought you meant a penis,
that's-
that's why Minecraft. I was like,
I
could make something productive or a giant dick.
Or
You know.
Oh, that was funny. I didn't mean it to be funny.
Yeah, it's
But,
fine.
yeah,
The audience
dyke.
gets them.
Sometimes.
Thank goodness.
You accidentally
find-
create a lot of jokes sometimes.
Sometimes it's on purpose.
Now I don't know where that is. But yeah, it depends. So the mobility, the functionality, and the opposability of their thumbs really like tiers animals on fightability. Bears, again, you can deal with because bears have a limited range of combat options. They have to claw at you or bite at you. There's not really much else they can do. They're not going to like bust out a fucking katana and come at you. They're kind of limited here.
So you think?
So I know I've seen bears and they're very limited in their attack structure.
I've seen documentaries about pandas. You would be surprised about the katana
Pandas can't
usage.
even keep themselves upright 90% of their lives, and they can't even procreate the rest of the 10% that they're necessary to survive. Like pandas if not for our intervention, would have killed themselves off. Like without any human intervention, we would have done nothing, and they would have died off. And we was like, all right. It's just pandas are no threat. Pandas are a threat to themselves more than they're a threat to humans.
They can be, they are very big. They can be dangerous, but as in like a bookshelf can be dangerous if it falls on you.
Yeah, that's like saying a vending machine is dangerous, and it's like I guess, but you got to like actively be aggressive to the vending machine first. I don't know how you.
You gotta like just like how in some games you find your own fun with vending machines. You gotta find your own danger.
Don't recommend
your own
but I
danger
guess
vending
you can.
machine.
Whenever a vending machine is said to be dangerous, I assume it's for the same reason that furniture says that you should nail it to a wall. It's a thing that's heavy, and then it can just be it can be horizontal all of a sudden, and you're like, oh fuck, I was there.
Yeah, I'm surrounded by shelves like that.
It's the same danger as a rock.
Yeah, to the point where I think the last when I was a kid, people would talk about what to do in the event of an earthquake. They would say you should, if you were inside a building, you should look for a doorway or something that has like a you know what I mean, like an arch or something inside the house that would protect you from the ceiling falling in a better way than just being in the middle of a room. These days, or the last anti-earthquake thing that I attended, They actually say that you should just go to the road because it's a lot safer than being inside the house. Simply because things fall on you, and that's
just
most
get the
likely
fuck out of the
cause of
house.
injury.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure
it's
that's
most-
like always the best option is to just like, if you can leave, just go, leave the place.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
schools are like that. Schools are like, if there's a fire, don't just hang out here.
No, I was
leave.
saying earthquake specifically.
No, I know, but like schools are any kind of threat that happens, just leave, just get out,
yeah.
just go away, just do not
Yeah.
be in the school. Pretty much, that's like the
Unless
go-to
it's
response.
unless it's weapons, in which case buy weapons to fight the weapons with the weapons for more.
No,
fighting.
only teachers can have weapons to fight weapons. Students have
right.
to get out. They need to go leave.
Hmm.
There's
guess you
a.
could stay
I
there,
always
but-
thought that advice was weird. The go hide in a weirdly specific place. I'm like, get the fuck out of the building immediately.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like it shouldn't be. I feel like the building shouldn't be that immediately dangerous. And if it is, then the whole thing might be going down. So that's even more reason to get the fuck out. These hyper specific things like, yeah, go hide in a specific part of your house. I'm like, I could be out of here in 5 seconds. Like, I don't know why I'd want to be like
Oh my
wanting
God,
to brave it like a ship, like a captain going down with a ship.
My house is built like a maze.
What?
You still haven't figured out the level design. You always get lost.
No, I know the level design. I just
It's
need
like
to go through 5
complex
levels
from
to get out.
GoldenEye.
Yeah, it takes me like 20 seconds to get out of the house.
That doesn't
It's
seem
not
ideal.
it's not that big of a house. Don't think I have a mansion. I'm not that loaded.
You're just very bad at navigating.
No, I need to go out into a hallway and then down the stairs and then across the living room into the kitchen into another hall and then I am out. This is the door. There's another
I have
door.
no
but it's
idea.
even-
Like I can't visualize.
no, it's impossible to visualize.
Do you still have way too many stairs?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of steps. Yeah.
Because didn't your
That's
last
just a
house
normal thing?
have like every room
Oh,
was
it's my
connected by? Or have you not?
Yeah.
I thought you were moving. Have you not moved yet?
I'll probably next year. Hopefully next
Oh
year.
yeah, because you were talking about like every room is connected to the next room by stairs again. Basically, just it's always
Yeah.
stairs.
Always stairs. My room's connected to the hall, or rather, the hall that connects to my room is connected to the living room through stairs, and then the living room connects to a couple of other rooms through stairs, and then the kitchen connects to the where you wash your clothes. I have a room where for washing clothes and stuff.
Why
Uh,
not?
and that-
Suburban houses are so homogenized. Misogenized. Suburban houses are so homogenized in the United States. It feels like it's hard to even imagine a wildly different house. They just never
Yeah.
happen. Like the idea of every room being connected by stairs. I'm like, wait, what? Why? Do you live in that like the map of San Francisco, but as a house?
It's a little bit like that in the sense that the original house really only had one level, and then a new bit of the house showed up in a different level, and then another bit of the house showed up in a different level, and then like the original house is from 1881, and then it had like every couple of decades it had a little bit more added, and that's basically, that's the evolution of a house. It just adds more bits. Fun fact: that's how the maze of the Minotaur maze thing. That's the in Crete or Crete's.
The Minotaur.
What's the name of the island?
Minos?
Yeah, Minos. Yeah,
I don't know.
Minos is the name of the place itself. But that's how supposedly it is. At least it's thought. That's how the legend of the maze was born. Because there's a castle in that island, and there's some archaeological evidence of the castle. You can see it on Google Maps if you look it up. You can see like the details of some of the buildings or some of the walls. And this is like a 2,000 or almost 3,000 year old castle. But the castle is just somebody's house that kept growing and growing and growing and growing. But because it grows in this weird organic way, it doesn't have any centralized way of building it. So it's like a maze. And that's where the legend comes from. It's the castle was like a maze.
And he
In
had
US, I
some
suppose, you
son
just-
that he didn't want anyone to see, so he hid him inside the maze.
That bit is probably all made up.
Yeah, the part where there's a Minotaur, it's probably made up.
Well, the Minotaur is not made up though.
I mean, maybe a comet was leaving the state.
The Minotaur is very likely derived from the gods that they had, and it is very likely that they worshipped some sort of bull-like god in terms of the.
That doesn't make it not made up.
Well, yeah, but in this.
There wasn't a Minotaur. Like, what do you mean it's not made up?
That's like the founding of Rome being the two dudes who got raised up by a she-wolf.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
It's not made up. It didn't happen, but it's not made up in the sense that it's like...
It's literally what made up means, is when it's not real.
That's true. That's true.
What the fuck does not made up mean to you?
But there's different levels of made up. There's the made up where I say...
Yeah, there's Santa Claus, and then there's my fan fiction.
But Santa Claus is not made up either.
That was my different levels of made up. Santa Claus and my fan fiction. They were the extremes.
Oh, I thought your fan fiction... Oh, right.
Santa Claus is like... More people believe in Santa Claus than God, probably. I don't know.
Nah,
I don't know where we're at.
That's not true.
I don't know where we're at in like the...
What? Wait, what do you mean God, though? Like one specific God, or just
All
God
of
in
it.
general?
I guess the Christian God.
Yeah. I could see that being the case.
Nope, all of them.
Santa Claus brought to you by Coca-Cola. Enjoy that
There's
red
so
and
many-
white
yeah.
branding that it just happened organically for no reason, definitely, and not for any particular brand reasoning.
Yeah. No, but
Are
I
you
think the
implying
market
that
appropriate.
Santa Claus is a Coke shill.
I definitely never saw him do anything like that.
I don't know. I've
Drinking
never
Coke?
seen
Santa?
I've never seen
No.
Coca-Cola and Santa Claus in the same room, so maybe
No.
it's true.
This is a big conspiracy.
I've just been hanging out playing
Awesome.
Orcs Must Die 3 this whole time. I wonder if I should just use that as the visuals and just put some branding in the corner.
I've been playing
The whole time?
Yeah,
What's it
I've been playing
called?
it the whole time. I was like, if
been
I'm playing a
playing,
game, should I just have gameplay footage as the podcast?
Probably not. No.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. I can be leafy.
I've been playing Unpacking.
Oh no,
recently.
he's still around? Oh my god.
He came back, didn't he?
Oh my, he had to come back? I didn't even know.
I think he was gone for a while after the iDubbbz thing.
Are you saying we
Why
defeated him
don't
once?
people who earn just outrageous amounts of money just shut up and go away?
In
that's what I want
related
money.
news, Shane Dawson is back.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but he's never really left.
I don't know who that is.
He's always been there.
We've talked about him before.
silently
He's the
waiting.
worst. He's just the worst
Yeah.
person on
Shane
YouTube.
The-
And he's back.
Oh,
And
you
I think-
mentioned. I remember you mentioning him, but I don't know who he is.
And Keemstar said that he's retiring, but he's
Which
just
is
going to go into
good.
politics, which is somehow worse.
bad.
What do you mean somehow? It's evidently worse.
I guess it'll.
No.
I mean, he's not going to win. I guess it'll just be
Yeah.
cringe. It'll be like when
I was-
Count Dankula and Sargon out of Akkad ran for. We're working with. Was it UKIP or something?
Yeah, that was
Oh,
They
really
did,
good.
they did a bunch
yeah,
of
I
political
forgot.
stuff, and it was like so embarrassing. It basically ended their careers. I feel like.
I forgot about that. I forgot
That
they
was real.
did try running for office and stuff, and it never went
That was-
anywhere.
Astonishing.
I was gonna start a
that.
sentence and say "in their defense," but I stopped.
What? Why?
Yeah,
Because
get
the-
going.
you-
Defend them. What's going on with them?
No, I'm not gonna defend them. I'm just gonna say that
You're about to get into a defender bender.
No, I'm not. Ukip and Faraj were had a very symbiotic relationship, so it's yeah, but it was real cringe and bad, and also just offensive and terrible. Besides being cringe.
I'll believe you.
The world is bad, and they made it worse.
And yes,
Did they?
It is nice living in a mostly post-Sargon world. I think he's just.
Are we?
There's a lot of-
Is he just gone now? I don't ever hear about him anymore.
It might as well be.
Maybe
that
everyone just got bored
nobody-
of talking about him. Maybe he's still
Oh, but
around.
there's others around. It's not like his ilk is not just doing the same
No,
things.
yeah, there's
they do.
always more infuriating people. I don't know. People like Tim Pool are like less, I don't know, nefarious. They're really bad for a lot of reasons, but there was something so just incredibly toxic and distressing and like pre-Trump about Sargon. Like just a disgusting person all the time.
Yeah.
You're like, oh
Well,
god.
it looks like he streamed 1 day ago.
Oh no. People still doing that?
He's almost got 1 million subscribers. Yeah, it looks like his views aren't that of someone who has 900,000 subscribers. I can tell you that much. A video from a month ago has 170,000 views.
He can't keep milking the Sarkeesian effect or whatever forever. People just forget. They're like, "What? Who's this?" Sure.
Yeah, he has like a lot of
One
his
of the
videos
best things
seems-
that Anita could do at this point is just never do anything ever again publicly, and then just they'll just get increasing like 100 YouTubers will get increasingly desperate as they just have less and less to talk about because Anita hasn't done anything for like 6 years. And they're like, what do we do? It's our only thing. People got bored of us complaining about Brie Larson.
It'd actually be
Pretty
really
fast.
funny if she just like did a bunch of stuff but under a pseudonym. So they just didn't know that she was doing stuff because her name didn't change. Like legally, she's still that, and she could just still do whatever she normally does. Like goes on Twitter and says like "Hi gamers" and just makes like 4 million people upset.
You kind of sounded a little bit like her when you said "Hi, gamers."
But the what?
Yeah.
But I can but like in the background she's making like new projects and releasing stuff but under some like pseudonym. And so there's like they're just sitting there being upset that she made like a tweet saying hi to gamers and there's nothing else. But she gets to sit there and do her projects without
What
any
could
kind
she
of
mean?
inconvenience.
Is she planning something?
Oh my god, is she making a sequel to the critically acclaimed fucking
They
I don't even know what it was
would just
called.
whole cloth fabricate an entire narrative about how like she's making a new
yeah.
Kickstarter now because she said
Yeah.
hi on Twitter once. like that's what
yeah,
that's their grift is that they just make stuff up eventually and just keep yelling about a boogeyman that like they make hours of content about every time she puts out 5 minutes of content. And they just
I
have to
think she should
stretch
just-
so hard and just pretend
should
other
just-
things happen that didn't.
Just constantly make Kickstarters that aren't supposed to go anywhere just so you can make them upset. And make them keep making them more outlandish. Like I want to make a Kickstarter so I can literally remove all men from video games. I'm just gonna pay Nintendo to remove.
Oh, that would
Mario.
go. I think
Like
that
just-
is taking the shit so far that I
Just-
think the people would back that.
The biggest
that-
cure to all the outrage was just if anybody actually bothered watching any of her content, which is mostly just boring. Like it is not this incendiary burn down men and video games content that they pretended it was
it's
all
just
along.
Run of the
It was
mill.
not.
It's incredibly dry academic lectures.
yeah.
Where she even straight up says what is practically like one of my catchphrases, which is just the idea that like the like liking something. I'm lost. I'm broken. We've been talking for 3 hours, but it's just the idea that you can criticize something and still like it, and like the entire
Oh yeah.
like just she says it in the outset that this entire series of videos isn't about like, and that's why all these games need to die and are bad and need to be stopped. It's like no, she's literally like part of engaging in something and enjoying it is criticizing it. Like that's part of the process of caring about something a lot. It's what we literally always do all the time.
Apart from NFTs, we don't do NFTs. We criticize them only.
Like there's just such an obvious element of like it's all we do. That's all we do all the time.
Yeah,
Is we criticize stuff all the time, and like we obviously love. Well, Andrew doesn't, but but we obviously love video games in general, and that's why we're so interested in this stuff and why we do the criticism and everything. Like that's part of it. Like you're so in deep that there's all these things that you want to talk about all the time. But don't talk about that specific element, or you're gonna be targeted by embarrassing people for a few years.
Yeah, imagine if I actually made anime videos. That would be awful.
It was an anti-intellectual movement where people just for a living just refuse to
continues, though.
engage with basic essays but get mad about them
Anti-intellectualism.
without interacting with them.
Yeah, anti-intellectualism is all the rage, basically, more than
It's
perhaps it ever has been.
It's just
That's
exhausting.
good. I like that.
Seriously,
It makes them anti-intellectualism makes a lot of suckers. So it's easier to con and grift all those people. So keep doing that. Keep being anti-intellectual because you're just an easier target for someone to take all of your money, and then you can, become
Buy
the
NFTs.
people. Yeah, you could become the people that you hate the most. The people that are.
But that's the thing; they don't even ever become that because there's anti-intellectualism doesn't quite become.
I don't know. Some of the anti-intellectual recently during this medical issue has resulted in a lot of interesting unnecessary deaths. There is definitely a correlation between rejecting science and factual reality and an early demise. Maybe you won't become financially broken, but there are other ways you can be broken as a person. And that just comes from lack of knowledge, lack of willing to learn. And that's fine. Again, I'm not gonna tell you no. You go right freaking ahead. I'm here for it. That's my guilty pleasure is watching that. So
that's right.
So keep doing it. That keeps feeding my content. That's all I'm here for.
Just keep stepping on rakes.
Yep. If you want to spite me, you can become an intellectual, and that sucks. Then I don't get any content to watch. Damn, that sucks. We're all just gonna have to progress as a species from now on and just spitefully make it so I have nothing to enjoy.
Yep.
But otherwise, keep failing. I'll be there.
That's right, humanity. Be the best you can be by boring Andrew. Good luck.
I mean, your options are either play into my hand and fall exactly where I want you to be, or spitefully oppose me. And unfortunately, you cannot be anti-intellectual and spitefully oppose me. It will not work. It just is not. It is an impossible
How the
situation.
cards fall.
Yep. So sorry, buds. It's one or the other. But
and with that, I think it's a good time to end because it's already almost
that was the
PM.
outro. Be the best Andrew disappointer that you can be. Send your questions to dialogchoicespodcast@gmail.com.
And I'll be disappointed by it.
We'll get to some of them sometimes. We got one this week. And we had a bird.
Did.
That's like multiple requests at once. It's an all-star episode, the greatest there ever was.
Wow.
Send us your animal tier list.
For Andrew tell you how easy it would be to fight them.
Yeah, no, it's how well, it's whether or not you think Andrew could defeat them. Andrew's got to make a tier. It'd be a really boring video. Andrew makes a tier list on his channel, and it's just keeps putting all of them in the same tier of being able to destroy them.
all in the D list. Look at all of these, and then monkey S tier. Oh shit, can't no.
It's got thumbs. Shit's scary. All right, see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.